40 cents per month. I'm Rick Everett with news. Now Doug Downs with sports.
Not since February of 2015 has it happened, but last night the Kansas State Wildcats finally were able to topple the Kansas Jayhawks 74-67. The seniors for Kansas State had never beaten Kansas until last night, and Dean Wade loves how his team had to fight.
Battled, grinded, fought, whatever you want to say. Luckily, we came out on top, and we fought every possession we came down. We were battling on defensive end, offensive end. We were really, it was a dogfight tonight.
The win keeps the Wildcats atop the Big 12 race. Meanwhile, Kansas is tied for fourth with Texas. From the Sports Desk, I'm Doug Downs.
The Laundry Station in Wichita is Kansas' premier laundry services provider. The Laundry Station has machines for all of your needs in the Wichita area. In fact, the largest machine can handle 10 loads at a time. Imagine a laundry facility where you don't need change. The Laundry Station accepts Apple Pay, debit cards, and credit cards, and your quarters as well. The Laundry Station is conveniently located in the heart of Wichita, on Oliver at Kellogg. The Laundry Station, and online at thelaundrystationks.com.
Hi ladies, it's Tiffany talking about my all-time favorite home decorating source, Jabara's Flooring Outlet. You've heard of Jabara's Flooring for years. They have the largest selection of carpet, wood, and all your favorite floor coverings in the state. And right now, they are offering a free Sonic Clean Soft Carpet Vacuum with every qualifying carpet purchase. Who doesn't need a new vacuum? Am I right, ladies? So take it from a real shopper, someone who loves a great deal. See Jabara's for your new floors. Like they say, the smartest shoppers shop Jabara's. 17th and North Broadway, Wichita.
Croft Lumber of Heston. Project expertise from start to finish. At Croft Lumber, you'll experience big box store selection with Heston owned and operated, pride in serving you, the customer. Quality Anderson and Marvin windows, Anderson and Larson storm doors, the full line of custom kitchen cabinetry from R.D. Henry & Company. And Croft Lumber has the full Milwaukee tool line. Croft Lumber, where service is their specialty and delivery within a 50-mile radius is absolutely free. Croft Lumber of Heston.
When you look around, you might feel pride is in short supply these days. Everything's being disrupted. The rules are changing. Everyone's scrambling to be the next flavor of the month. But at Ford, we don't measure in months. We've been around for 115 years, and we know the only constant is change. So, disruption? Yeah, it's what we do every day. It's also what's led us to build the world's first affordable car, the most beloved pickup truck on the road, the iconic American sports car, and the SUV most people think of when they think of an SUV. We know America was built on the backs of families like ours, so we still take pride in what we build and how we build. We even take pride in taking pride. And the world could use a little more of that right now. Because if you don't believe in what you're doing, why do it at all? Build Ford proud.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
President Trump said in his State of the Union speech last night that if he hadn't been elected president, quote, we would right now be in a major war with North Korea. Then Mr. Trump announced another summit meeting.
My relationship with Kim Jong-un is a good one. Chairman Kim and I will meet again on February 27th and 28th in Vietnam.
In the Democratic response, former Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams drew a series of contrasts with Republicans on issues including health care, gun control, and immigration. With Democrats now in charge, a House committee will hold its first hearing on gun violence in years today. 2 other panels will gavel in hearings on climate change. 3 more will debate protecting pre-existing health conditions. The man accused of kidnapping 13-year-old Jamie Kloss after killing her parents in Barron, Wisconsin last October will be in court this morning. Young Jamie escaped after 88 days in captivity. Wall Street stock futures narrowly in the red this morning. I'm Michael Toscano.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Hatman Jacks. Amazing headwear for women and men. At the Clock Tower in Delano, Hatman Jacks.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, some patchy fog, otherwise partly sunny and 48. Patchy fog tonight after 7 p.m., increasing clouds and 40. Tomorrow, patchy drizzle between 7 and 1, otherwise mostly cloudy and 58 with winds gusting over 25 miles an hour. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 6:06, it's currently 24 degrees.
Rick in the morning, Stephanie during the day. Your home for local news is the Big Talker, KQAM. It's time for Reason.
We were starting to see an uptick even before he got into office. The first 2 months of Governor Laura Kelly, we've gone down. Shockingly, talking about spending more money, shortening the 2-year budget outlook to a 1-year budget outlook to balance the budget, quote unquote, by expanding Medicaid, which we know is going to be a hell of a lot more expensive than $14 million. The outlook of Kansas has already dropped.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
Members of Congress, the state of our union is strong.
Boy, you know, sometimes there's a time where you just see a baseball game and they step right up to the plate and they throw that sweet, sweet curveball, fastball, doesn't matter. They can throw anything at you. And what do you see it? You see it go right down the right lane, going, gone, baby. And what a night it was with the State of the Union last night. Welcome into the Voice of Reason on a Wednesday, 316-721-8255. We got a lot to get to today. It's going to be a big show. We got to recap all of this. We got to get your thoughts on it. We have some great guests in the lineup today as well. But as you know, it's a little cold and icy outside this morning, kind of crazy, so let's jump right into it.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
And Rick Everett hanging out here.
Hey, good morning, Andy. Yes, it is a little icy out there this morning, whether you know it or not. And, of course, as you heard in the top of the hour news, we have a winter weather advisory in effect until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Freezing drizzle, freezing rain already making itself known here in south central Kansas. School closures, they're dropping like flies. We've had some even since our top of the hour news just a few moments ago that have come into the newsroom. So let's get to that, shall we? Schools closed today due to weather conditions. Remington, Whitewater, Ark City, Hayesville, Sedgwick, Conway Springs, Clearwater, Wellington, Cheney, Renwick, Central Christian Academy, Valley Center schools are closed today. Mays and Goddard USD 265, along with Goddard Holy Spirit School closed today. All of that due to the weather. Now, this winter weather advisory, again, it is in effect until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Freezing rain and drizzle. The major culprit as we are looking at things right now, but along with that you can throw in the possibility for some snow in areas of Kansas overnight. Tomorrow morning going to be even colder than this morning, so do take note. Several area schools closed. I would check with your media sources as the morning progresses, and we'll keep you abreast of the situation as the morning progresses as well.
You know what we need to do? We need to get some ice skates there, and then we'd just be fine. Just skate right on to work and school.
I literally, and you walked in right before me and saw me doing my my Olympic speed skating across the parking lot. Now, the roadways weren't all that bad. I exercised a lot of caution on the high areas of the bypass. I call it the bypass. There's a Garden City throwback. But I-235, you exercise some caution as you're going over those high areas, those roadways. And also here in Wichita, the emergency accident reporting plan is in effect, which means if you're in a fender bender and there are no drugs or alcohol involved in the accident, you can simply exchange information and you can get those accident reporting papers, I guess you would call them, at any Quick Trip location. So the emergency accident reporting plan in effect for today here in Wichita.
There you go. Good stuff. Appreciate the update there. We'll get another one here in just a little bit.
And that's the news.
That is the news. Hey, welcome into the Voice of Reason. It's a Wednesday. Great to have you along for the ride today. 316-721-8255. 316-721-TALK. Boy, oh boy, what a night it was. The State of the Union, baby, as President Donald Trump said.
Members of Congress, the state of our union is strong.
Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. And what a night it was. Now, the Democrats, of course, if you watched it on TV or you listened to it on radio, the white gowns, the white dresses that the Democrat women wore in solidarity to try and show unison of the Democrats as opposed to trying to fight Donald Trump. They already went in with the political message of we're not going to compromise, we're not going to listen to you, and what you say doesn't really matter. But I tell you what, Donald Trump laid out the case. And I got to stop watching stuff like, the left-wing media. Watching Chuck Todd last night makes you cringe. The exact words, as soon as they came out of the State of the Union, he didn't win them over. He didn't do anything special. He focused too much on illegal immigration and his pitch for the wall. It was more of a 2020 speech to try and win the re-nomination for 2020. That's all it was. It wasn't very special. It wasn't very great. Yeah, he brought in a few things that where we can get along together with, but it wasn't anything great. Then they go to of course, the Democrat response. And what do you hear? Oh, it was fantastic. It was beautiful. Oh, man, she just nailed him right to the pegboard. It was beautiful. I didn't even know what the hell she was talking about. What was Stacey Abrams actually talking about last night? Donald Trump laid out the case, and it was probably one of the most patriotic things that I've heard in a very, very long time.
In just over 2 years since the election, we have launched an unprecedented economic boom, a boom that has rarely been seen before. There's been nothing like it. We have created 5.3 million new jobs and, importantly, added 600,000 new manufacturing jobs, something which almost everyone said was impossible to do. But the fact is, we are just getting started. Wages are rising at the fastest pace in decades and growing for blue-collar workers, who I promised to fight for. They're growing faster than anyone else thought possible. Nearly 5 million Americans have been lifted off food stamps. The U.S. economy is growing almost twice as fast today as when I took office. And we are considered far and away the hottest economy anywhere in the world. Not even close. Unemployment has reached the lowest rate in over half a century. African American, Hispanic American, and Asian American unemployment have all reached their lowest levels ever recorded. Unemployment for Americans with disabilities has also reached an all-time low. More people are working now than at any time in the history of our country. 157 million people at work. We passed a massive tax cut for working families and doubled the child tax credit. We virtually ended the estate tax, or death tax, as it is often called, on small businesses, for ranches, and also for family farms. We eliminated the very unpopular Obamacare individual mandate penalty, and to give critically ill patients access to life-saving cures, we passed, very importantly, right to try. My administration has cut more regulations in a short period of time than any other administration during its entire tenure. Companies are coming back to our country in large numbers, thanks to our historic reductions in taxes and regulations. And we have unleashed a revolution in American energy. The United States is now the #1 producer of oil and natural gas anywhere in the world. After 24 months of rapid progress, our economy is the envy of the world. Our military is the most powerful on earth by far. America is again winning each and every day.
When you hear something like that, doesn't that just give you the tingles down your spine? As Joe Lieberman, one of those yahoos where it said they got the tingle up the leg from Barack Obama. When you hear something like this, the economy's doing better, than it's done in a very long time, when unemployment rates are lower than they've been in a very long time, when the military is stronger than it's ever been before, when we have more people working than ever before in the history of our nation, when you hear those types of messages, doesn't that make you actually understand that we live in the greatest nation on the face of the earth? Doesn't that make us understand that we should be proud of having a Republican-led majority over the last couple of years that's actually been able to repeal socialism, repeal regulation, lower the, well, not really lower the spending, but at least lower somewhat of our control over the private sector and allowing that private sector to boom. To me, right there, that's what sent the shiver up my leg. That's what made me excited. That's what I'm happy about. And I want to hear if you saw the same thing. Did you think he knocked it out of the park last night? Was it one where he could have done better? Do you like what he had to say throughout this speech? He touched on a lot of different topics, between the economy right off the bat to the national crisis at the border and the caravan moving up, which, you know what, I noticed you can always tell what Democrats are for and what they're against when they either choose to stand up and applaud or they don't stand up and applaud in protest. And when you hear him say the economy's doing well and individuals on disability are working and actually not needing as many social benefits, when we have less people on food stamps, when we have the death tax going away, when we have child tax write-offs and child credits that are doubled now, when people are not needing social programs as much, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Democrats refuse to stand up. I noticed a lot last night from their platform, and they showed it very evidently, and if anybody paid attention to it and actually watched this, they would understand that by not standing up, that means you're not in support of what he's saying. And between saying the economy's doing well, between saying that we want more legal immigrants to come to the country, between saying that there are more women working, which I loved how they tried to say that that was a message to them, and that they tried to cut. How self-absorbed do you have to be with the women sitting there cheering and trying to take credit for him saying that women are actually getting further in the workplace and actually succeeding better than they ever had before, and that, yes, more women have been elected. It's not because of in spite of Donald Trump, but it's because of the movement that we've created. Between all this, between the precious life, I am so glad that he mentioned that abortion issue in New York and Virginia, and he got boos in the crowd. And while he said that all precious life is valued, they did not stand. You see what they actually stand for and what they don't stand for. You see literally, physically, what they actually stood up and applauded for and what they didn't stand up and applaud for. And you see the platform of the Democrats. They apparently do not like people getting off food stamps. They do not like the economy actually getting better. They do not like him cutting regulation. They do not like him saving lives with an anti-abortion, late-term abortion bill that he's proposing. They do not like legal immigrants coming to this country. They do not like the fact that he even called out socialism in his speech last night, which was the best thing that he could have done. He nailed it out of the park last night, and the Democrats did not know how to handle it. They were angry, they were bitter, and they showed it. They showed it with them sitting there with their, I don't even know if you can really say it on the radio, their grumpy woman face, if you know what I'm talking about. Hint, hint, wink, wink, AOC. And Bernie Sanders kind of had that same look, too. He was just sitting there all slouched and his coat jacket all up over him, and he's just sitting there looking. He looks like he's just about to, fall over and fall asleep there last night because he didn't care. That's what the Democrats are all about. That's what they stood for last night. They stood against everything that's going well in this nation because they hate to see success, and they especially hate to see success when Donald Trump is the cause of it. Welcome into the show today, 316-721-8255. We're on TV, we're on radio, we're on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, find KQAM Radio. We got a lot of people jumping on this morning already. It's a heck of a show. We got a lot to get to. Jim Howell, Sedgwick County Commissioner, as usual, he'll be joining us at 7:30 today to chat with us about the county commission issues, and we'll probably get an update from him on his thoughts from the State of the Union. Also, in the 8 o'clock hour, Tim Dennis, we have a new show on KQAM Saturday evenings at 9 p.m. We have Beer Guys Radio doing reviews on microbrews across the nation. Tim Dennis, one of the hosts of the show, he'll be joining us at 8 o'clock today to give an update on the show and talk about some microbrews. So I'll have some fun with that. But throughout the show today, I want to hear from you. Plus, we got some statewide issues to get to as well. We have a movement to try and increase the cost of living for Capers pension plans. Yes.
While we're working on amortizing and delaying the payments for capers, we now want to increase the cost of capers to do a cost of living increase for those benefits. I'm not joking. That's totally serial, and we'll get to that today as well. Big stuff going on today. 21 minutes past the hour. Happy Wednesday morning. This is The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Craig Meade. Deputy Agriculture Secretary Steve Sedgwick says there are plans for USDA to have Farm Bill implementation listening sessions.
We have charged each of the mission areas within USDA to hold a listening session to invite in either formally or informally the various stakeholders that we know that are interested in those provisions so that we can hear from them. And so we do want to hear from those various stakeholders, and we're going to be making some of those announcements coming up. We're going to be putting together a schedule, a calendar of those listening sessions. We'll be sharing that widely so that folks know when those are and can be attending those listening sessions. And again, we really do want to hear from folks as we move forward. And we're going to have to be holding those quickly because we're going to have to move quickly as well on the implementation.
Sedgwick says implementing the Farm Bill in its totality is a very complex situation.
There are some provisions of the Farm Bill, as you well know, that are essentially almost self-implementing because the provisions are so clear and there's really no decisions that have to be made surrounding those. There's a lot of other provisions, though, where the Congress has authorized us to take certain actions, but it comes with policy decisions that have to be made on how to implement that. We'll be taking a look and getting the recommendations and be making those decisions, or in some cases, for the bigger ones, we'll be taking those recommendations up to Secretary Perdue for him to be making sure that we're implementing it in line with his thinking as well.
Deputy Agriculture Secretary Steve Sedgwick, the USDA taking steps to implement the Farm Bill. Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network.
MJ's Truck Repair at Exit 46 off I-135 in Mound Ridge, America is the largest full-service truck center between Wichita and Salina in central Kansas. Truckers in the know already know, and ag people from miles around know they can turn to MJ's Truck Repair for repair and parts for their tractors, combines, and hay equipment. You construction types, listen up. Skid steers, backhoes, forklifts, bulldozers, and payloaders. MJ's of Mound Ridge is also your construction equipment, parts, and repair headquarters. Find MJ's on the web at mjstruckrepair.com.
Right now, you've got plenty to do without worrying about putting additives in your diesel fuel. That's why you'll be happy to hear Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster Premium Diesel Fuel is seasonally enhanced for optimal cold weather performance. So order Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster for the performance and extra protection your farm equipment needs. Because after fueling farms for 80 years, no brand respects Mother Nature more than Cenex.
See the Anthony Co-op in Anthony, Kansas.
Hey, Mark Walters with Armed American Radio, and I want to tell you about Rob's Gun Tech and Firearms. They're the dealer to buy, sell, trade, and even consign. Budget to high-end custom firearms, ammo, accessories. They've got it all and feature Wilson Combat, Guncrafters Industries, and Nighthawk Custom. Have a request? Work with their in-house gunsmith, find the right solution for you. Rob's Gun Tech offers pricing programs and discounts and proudly gives back to the Veterans Suicide Network. Learn more today at robsguntechandfirearms.com or visit them just east of 159th North on East Kellogg, where they know more than just the price.
When you think of Norris Collision Center of Goddard, of course you think of big city quality and small town service. That's why more people refer their friends to Norris Collision Center of Goddard. The little things that make big differences, like attention to detail and rental car assistance. But when you think Norris Collision Center of Goddard, do you think custom modifications, meticulous detailing services, paintless dent removal, leather and interior repair, or windshield replacement and window tinting? You should. Norris Collision Center of Goddard.
ABC Recycling pays top dollar for your scrap metal. Is your New Year's resolution to purge your place of stuff? If it's metal, don't even think about sending it to the landfill before you talk with ABC Recycling. They want to see what you have. With years of experience, ABC Recycling has gained the trust of businesses and individuals as seasoned recyclers. Bring your scraps to ABC Recycling and they'll give it a new purpose while you get a positive impact on your bottom line and your pocket. Visit us just west of Hydraulic and Gilbert or online at abcrecyclingllc.com.
Kansas state politics at its best. Catch the latest only on the Big Talker, KQAM.
We must reject the politics of revenge, resistance, and retribution, and embrace the boundless potential of cooperation, compromise, and the common good.
I loved how Nancy Pelosi stood up and actually tried to applaud for that, while she's the one not negotiating or compromising in any way, shape, or form. We won't build a wall because it's immoral, but we loved building it about 4 years ago because that's the way to do it. Good golly. President Trump, well done. Needs in front of the compromise. I do kind of find it funny as well, the ridiculous investigations steering us away from the priorities of actually making the country great and working on the real issues that we need to. He kind of did it tongue-in-cheek and mentioned it yesterday, but I don't know if he really needed to or if he should have. I don't know, but I think it was kind of funny how he did it because he took the jab at him. He has no problem. He's one of the few guys who has no problems that when he says something, he looks at the person it's directed to, even though he doesn't call him up by name, and he points at him and winks. And he has no problem doing that. When he was talking about the women and the Democrat women that had power, he looked over at them and he smiled and he pointed at them. And he acknowledged them. It's hysterical. Let's go to the phones. Get your thoughts on this. ABC Recycling Hotlines. Let's go to line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Hello, Andy. This is Helen.
Good morning, Helen. How are you today?
Well, I'm doing great. I thought it was a magnificent speech. I'd like to have had it on, get it on DVD.
Oh, there you go. Maybe, you know what? He is a capitalist. Maybe he'll actually record it on DVD and then sell it. That wouldn't surprise me.
And raise money to build a wall.
Ah, there you go. I like the way you think there. All right.
Well, so proud of our Republican women and men that stood up in support for innocent babies' lives.
Mm-hmm.
While, obviously these white suits for the Democrats are a new uniform for baby murderers.
Yeah, it was really odd to me. You would think that even as we just talked about just the preciousness of life and children, I mean, they kind of sort of half applauded when we were talking about, the statement he was making right before that about the gal that was in the stage or in the crowd with the brain cancer, the little child with the brain cancer, and talking about initiatives to try and save children and the children's initiatives that he's working on, which was absolutely fantastic. And they half applauded that, and they're like, okay. And then he went into the abortion thing, and they sat there stiff as a board with their angry woman face on when he was talking about the need to the craziness going on in New York and Virginia with literally murdering babies as they come out, and they just sat there and they didn't say a word. That shows they may have not have vocally endorsed that mindset, but they support it because he mentioned it, and they didn't respond in any way, shape, or form. To me, that you would think that's very clear for most people to be like, oh wow, now we know exactly where they stand on this.
Exactly. It kind of makes me think of when the Lord Jesus Christ addressed the scribes and Pharisees in St. Matthew 23, 27. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones.
Well, that's true, and I wouldn't even say that the Democrats are really even beautiful and looking at right now either. Helen, I hate to cut you out. We got a bottom of the hour break coming up. I appreciate it, though. You're right. They sat there. I don't get it. They applauded themselves when the women thing came up because, hey, all right, but then, the preciousness of life. It shows the selfishness of the progressive mindset right now, and it's kind of a sick mentality, isn't it? Bottom of the hour news coming up. Stay here.
The latest news from the Big Talker, KQAM. President Trump spent much of his State of the Union address last night talking about immigration and border security, and he seems to be relaxing his stance on a huge wall from sea to shining sea.
This is a smart, strategic, see-through steel barrier, not just a simple concrete wall. It will be deployed in the areas identified by the border agents as having the greatest need.
The president did not announce a national emergency to go around Congress for money to build a border barrier. Capitol Hill negotiators have until a week from Friday to come up with a budget deal or run the risk of another government shutdown. They are meeting this morning. Mississippi lawmakers are considering what could become one of the strictest abortion laws in the country. Bills that passed legislative committees yesterday would ban abortion once a fetal heartbeat is detected as early as 6 weeks into a pregnancy. Supporters and opponents alike are anticipating a court fight. Stock futures are mostly flat in pre-market trading. I'm Michael Toscano.
Day one for a new employee. Instead of joining in productively, they face a confusing, disjointed process and piles of paper forms. With Kronos, you can automate the entire onboarding process, creating a better experience for employees and freeing you to focus on the human part of your job. HR, payroll, talent, and timekeeping in one unified system, all with a proven implementation approach and simplified, transparent pricing. Learn more at kronos.com/onboarding. Kronos, workforce innovation that works.
You started a DIY project at home. Then you realize convenience isn't always easy. The why in DIY doesn't mean, why is this so hard? At ADT, we DIFY, do it for you. We customize and install a secure smart home that you control from the palm of your hand or the sound of your voice. Smart security, designed and installed just for you with ADT. Visit ADT.com/smart to learn more. License information available at ADT.com. ADT, real protection.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. Good Wednesday. An icy one out there in portions of the Sunflower State. Several area schools around Wichita canceled classes today, along with a couple in western Kansas. Winter weather advisories posted for much of Kansas through tomorrow morning. The main culprit today, freezing rain and drizzle. Tonight brings with it snow into tomorrow morning for portions of the state. A 30-year-old Topeka man who led police on a chase to avoid stopping at a DUI checkpoint has been sentenced on a firearm charge. U.S. Attorney Stephen McAllister said in a news release that Daryl Kevin Norwood was sentenced yesterday to 3 to 5 years in prison for possession of a firearm. Police say rather than stopping at the checkpoint back in May, Norwood fled from police. The chase exceeded 70 miles an hour before Norwood hit another car, then fled on foot, but was later arrested. Kansas Mid-America Network News.
If you're active military, a veteran, or part of our law enforcement community, bring in your active or inactive military ID or an active law enforcement ID to any Riverside Cafe location. Buy 2 meals and a drink and get the second meal of equal or lesser value for free. Again, for any military vets or law enforcement, buy 1 meal and 2 drinks and get the second meal at no charge. Riverside Cafe.
Riverside Cafe, with all 3 locations serving all-day breakfast. In Wichita at 9125 West Central, 13th in Bidding, and in Derby at 824 North Baltimore.
Whether it's your home or your business, from roofing to foundation repair, Romani Construction of Wichita makes the process of construction or home and business improvement easy. Romani Construction involves you in the process from concept to completion. Better Business Bureau accredited, Romani Construction specializes in roofing, fire and water restoration, foundation repair, and concrete, and is locally owned and operated. From setting a start date when things actually get started to completing your project on time, call Romani Construction of Wichita, 252-7972.
Attention, co-op members. In conjunction with Countryside Motors in Wellington, all co-op members and their families qualify for additional rebates on Chevrolet, Buick, Hustler turf equipment, and Polaris vehicles. This exclusive fleet rebate program is only being offered by Countryside Motors in Wellington, Kansas. Offers are not being published to the general public. They are available to co-op members in Kansas or Oklahoma. For full details, contact Countryside Motors in Wellington at 620-326-7433 or online at countrysidemotors.net.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, some patchy fog, otherwise partly sunny and 48. Patchy fog tonight after 7 p.m., increasing clouds and 40. Tomorrow, patchy drizzle between 7 and 1, otherwise mostly cloudy and 58 with winds gusting over 25 miles an hour. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 6:35, it's currently 24 degrees.
Call the Voice of Reason now on the ABC Recycling phone lines at 721-8255. This is the Big Talker, KQAM. It's time for Reason.
There's a difference between natural growth of the economy and artificial growth of the economy.
If you tax higher, then obviously there's a higher rate and you're going to get more money. But are you really growing the economy? No, you're just squeezing the same people more. You're squeezing the apple a little bit tighter to try and drain a little bit more juice out of that same apple, as opposed to having 4 new apples to be able to squeeze juice out of and be able to get more juice from them.
This is the voice of reason with Andy Hoosier.
You know, it's funny. That's a concept that progressives don't quite just understand, as they got angry at the fact that more people are working in the nation, which is why we saw GDP growth as high as it's been. We saw less people on food stamps. We see less women that are actually not working. We see less disabled individuals on food stamps and on social programs, because we're getting the economy going again, and they don't like that for whatever reason. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. Welcome back in. This half hour of the broadcast brought to you by Lamar's Donuts and Coffee Shop. Be a rock star today, baby. On your way to work, pick up a dozen donuts from Lamar's. It's a great way to start each and every morning, especially today. We are halfway through the week. You can almost see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's going to be a good one. 3 locations here in town. One just south of Rock and K96, one at Tyler and Mays, the other at Harry on the east side of Hillside. Try them. You'll definitely like them. It's Lamar's Donuts and Coffee Shop, online at lamars.com. Check them out. 316-721-8255. Give me a call up on the ABC Recycling Hotlines. Your thoughts on the State of the Union last night. I thought it was absolutely hilarious that he mentioned, that he said, this.
If I had not been elected President of the United States, we would right now, in my opinion, be in a major war with North Korea.
Did you hear the boos and the groans in the background? If I had not been elected president, and you hear the all the Democrats lost their minds. Oh, they're sitting there, and the grumpy face. I mean, even the men on the Democrat side had angry women grumpy face. And I say that because I can't really say the other word. So the angry women grumpy face. That's what we're going to call it. And they said there, and the reaction from Nancy Pelosi, the way she rolled her eyes, the way she smirked. And look, I don't know if she's the parent, quote unquote, of these other legislators on her side of the aisle. I don't know if she was trying to contain them or control them, because they wanted to cause a scene. They tried to boo a little bit in the background a little bit. They wanted to do so they were groaning a little bit. And did you see her? She just looks and she puts her hand up and stop. And she gives them the look. The mother look. She gives them the stern look. That's the Speaker of the House that's sitting there looking at her side of the aisle, looking at her side of the chamber, and be like, don't do that. It was hysterical. It was really funny, and I don't know, we were maybe on the same wavelength here or something, some kind of same brain waves, but as Donald Trump was walking, before he even gave the speech, he was walking into the chamber and he was shaking hands and everything, and I stopped there and I just thought for just a second, and I said, you know what, there's so much history in this chamber. It's really crazy how he did this, and I absolutely loved it. The way he tied it all in was absolutely beautiful. Probably one of the best speeches that he's given since he's been president. I will honestly say that. I think that it was magnificent, because he was walking into the chamber, and I was looking around from what the camera views were, and I was seeing the chamber and everybody there, and I was like, wow, there's so much history in this. And I'm a history buff. You know this. I love history. I love learning about it. I love putting myself in that position. I love putting myself in that time and thinking about what it was like at that time. And I started thinking about the very first State of the Union that was given way back when we first crafted this nation as a constitutional republic. Which, by the way, he did say republic last night, which was amazing. Hat tip to you, my friend. You did not say democracy, but you did say republic. That was beautiful. But as he's walking up, I was thinking about the very first State of the Union and where we've come since then, and the growing and the evolving of this nation. And regardless of the political bickering and the partisanship that goes on, which has always been there, I don't know why we think we're unique for some reason, just because it's in today's time. And yeah, we have challenges, but every nation in every year and every time era has challenges. The former politicians 100 years ago, 200 years ago, they had problems as well. And probably just as bad, if not worse, than what we have today. We just like to bitch and moan about it more today. But they had just as many problems, if not worse. But the State of the Unions that were given prior, whether it was televised or whether it was recorded or whether there wasn't even media there, and it was just the duty of the civic duty of the American people to go and listen to it, because they wanted to know what was going on, because they understood the importance of this issue. And just the progression of it, I was like, man, there's so much history here. And then he went in and he started going into a history message. And he brought in World War II veterans, which I thought was absolutely phenomenal for him to bring World War II veterans in, because we don't talk about World War II anymore. We have individuals in our governmental system, elected officials, that are advocating for socialism at the same time trying to say that fascism is bad, when they do not realize that one leads to another. We have individuals in our governmental system, elected officials, that are advocating for the exact same thing that the liberal socialist Franklin D. Roosevelt advocated for, that started this whole spiral downhill with these social programs, government spending, government corruption, big bloated government establishment hacks. That's what started this. They're advocating for the same thing that led to dictators, tyrants, fascists, socialist leaders all around the world. He mentioned Venezuela and trying to weed out the socialists in the Venezuelan government. He mentioned the tyrants over in the Middle East and how we're nothing like them, how we're so special, and how we fought that stuff, and how survivors of the Holocaust were there and what they went through because of socialist ideas. Yes, socialist, left-wing, liberal, progressive, socialist ideas that led to the execution of that. To 6 million plus Jewish individuals. He talked about it. He rubbed it in their face. And they sat there with their angry woman grumpy face. They sat there with their angry woman grumpy face. And I couldn't have been happier. I couldn't have been happier. The way he did that, it was absolutely beautiful. Along with saying at the same time, you know what? Patriotism's here. We need to put America first. We need to deal with the immigration issue. I mean, the way he talked about the immigration, nailed it. Nailed it when he talked about the middle class. And you know what? You Democrats, progressives, you cannot be for illegal immigrants and just letting anybody come across the border at any time and having an open border mentality, letting illegal immigrants stay, giving them illegal driver's licenses that are against federal law. I don't know how you can create some kind of state law that violates federal law on something where the federal government is actually supposed to deal with that. If they're not supposed to deal with that, then we can see that and actually have it a states' rights issue. Immigration and foreign policy is not a states' rights issue. That is a federal government issue. Look at the social compact that we actually have for the states that signed us into the Constitution. It's a really shocking document if you read it. It's called the Constitution, where the federal government does have the powers delegated by the states to handle immigration policy and foreign policy. You have that right to do so. But you cannot be for an illegal immigrant coming over here, having the quote-unquote better life for themselves, breaking our federal laws, not having IDs, trying to take the money, so on and so forth, committing crimes in many cases as well, and then still be for the middle class as well. You cannot do that, and Donald Trump referenced it.
Tonight I am asking you to defend our very dangerous southern border out of love and devotion to our fellow citizens and to our country. No issue better illustrates the divide between America's working class and America's political class than illegal immigration. Wealthy politicians and donors push for open borders while living their lives behind walls and gates and guards. Meanwhile, working class Americans are left to pay the price for mass illegal immigration. Reduced jobs, lower wages, overburdened schools, hospitals that are so crowded you can't get in, increased crime, and a depleted social safety net. Tolerance for illegal immigration is not compassionate. It is actually very cruel.
There it is. I mean, that was beautiful. You cannot say you're for illegal aliens and then you're still for the middle class, because we have to bear the burden of it, don't we? We have to deal with it. We have to deal with what's going on the streets. We have to have a class now, a school and education system to where you learn half the material in twice the amount of time, because now they have to do it in numerous different languages. That is not efficient education that we're spending our hard-earned tax money on. We have the debate every single year here in Kansas on how much money is going to go into our educational system. Do you realize how many languages that school's being taught in now in our education system just in Kansas? It's astronomical. And we're spending more money on it, and we're not getting better grades. We're not getting better educated. We're not actually getting better graduation scores. It's not happening. We had this issue. Taking the jobs. You know what? We need to start the dialogue saying that if you're for an illegal alien coming here when they're breaking the law, and yes, I'm going to continue to use that term because that's what it is. They're an illegal alien. They're here illegally in the nation when they're not supposed to be. Good, bad, or indifferent, going through the process or a hiccup or an expired visa or whatever. Guess what? You know what? You should have planned accordingly, and it should have planned ahead of time. Think a little bit further down the road. I always had a sign. I wanted to put a sign when I was a banker on my desk that said, "Your lack of planning does not constitute a crisis on my end." Because you know what? You cannot come in 5 minutes before the bank closes and want to open up a checking account and apply for a loan when we've already balanced and we put all the money away in the vault. It doesn't work that way. You need to plan better with your time instead of coming in and then us start trying to pander to your crisis. You should know that if your visa expires in a year from now and it takes 2 years to process, you should probably get going on that process so that way it doesn't expire, right? I'm just saying. So you know what? There's a little work on give on both ends. Should we make the process easier? Yeah, we need to make the process easier. At the same time, this is the process currently. You should plan accordingly. I don't know. That's kind of a crazy thought, right? But you cannot say that you're for them and then at the same time be like, well, yeah, we're for the inner city individuals, inner city working class to get low income or to get entry-level positions to start gaining experience so they can work up the corporate ladder, gaining experience so they have the work ethic, gaining experience so they know what a job's like so that way they can continue on to education, or they can work to put a little money away while they're in school, or they can actually get a car to get to work or to get to school. Whatever the case is, you're taking that job away because you're saying, you know what, we're just going to give it to an illegal alien. We're allowing that opportunity. You cannot be for both. It doesn't work. You're actually advocating for opposites. So what we could say and what we should start saying is if you support illegal aliens, if you support open borders, if you support people coming in and breaking the law, then you apparently are racist because you don't care for inner city communities being able to get education. Then you are a, what do you want? We can come up with a new word, a teensist. You don't like teenagers coming out of high school, going into college to get entry-level positions. You don't like them actually being able to get a job to gain experience or to put money away or to actually work while they're going to school. You don't like that mentality. Yeah. Oh, we need affordable wages. I heard Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez give an interview to Chuck Todd after the State of the Union last night, and when they asked her about the socialism thing, she totally blew it off. It's an ism. It doesn't really matter, but we're fighting for better wages. We need $15 an hour minimum wage for people. You do realize that will kill, again, every entry-level position for any high schooler, any college kid, and any inner-city individual. Any disability person with disability trying to just get some type of income to come in. You do realize that would kill off any opportunity for anybody like that to work. Anybody like that. You do realize that, right? So you're against all them. No. Well, we just need to take care of them. We need them on social programs because that's going to get them further in life, right? That's going to take them to that next level. Advocating for illegal immigration, advocating for that $15 an hour minimum wage, advocating for what they do. They cannot say that they're for the middle class, they're for the working class. I mean, that Stacey Abrams last night when she started going on to her whole story, I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. She didn't even make any sense. What are you saying? You're talking about your dad and working and, how he had to walk to work and it was really cold and he gave up his coat for a homeless person because you were going to be there. And yet, that's great. It's a nice, cute story. What does it have to do with anything? Mr. President, you failed the working class. Really? Because he just gave a 3.5-minute speech together, all chopped up, 3.5 minutes total of how great the economy's doing and how the working class is actually working more than they've ever worked before. Pretty sure that's a success there, right? I don't know. Could be wrong. But maybe not. I'm not quite sure. Mr. President, you failed the middle class. Really? You're not the one failing the middle class when you allow illegal aliens to take that job at a lower rate under the table, because that's better than trying to actually hire an individual, tax the company for hiring individuals, and then taxing the business and the individual for the income that they earn and the wealth that they create because they actually hired that. You'd rather tax them and say, yep, that's really helping the company and the person, rather than saying, all right, allow the illegal immigrant to go in there and actually do it under the table for a lower cost. driving down the wages. You want to talk about $15 an hour minimum wage? Why are you allowing illegal aliens to work under the table for less wages? Why are you allowing that? You cannot be for both. Hypocrisy at its best. The lies, the drivel, the ridiculousness of the progressives. You cannot say you're for higher wages while you allow illegals to work under the table at lower wages, driving down the wages. You cannot say that you're for the inner cities. You cannot say that you're for young individuals. You cannot say you're for the disabled individuals to actually gain, to actually grow, to do something when you're for the individuals that are not supposed to be here in the first place taking those jobs. You cannot be for both. You cannot do it. It is hypocritical. It is lying. And it is stupid. Let's go to the phones. 316-721-8255. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Morning, this is Bruce.
Bruce, what's going on, sir? How we doing?
Hey, we're doing. Well, you're almost saying it, but not quite.
Okay.
And what I'd like to hear you say and see, tell me whether or not you agree with this, and I'd like the American people to realize it, is, you know, you go back in history, the Democrat Party was a party of slavery. We whipped them in the Civil War, and then graciously did not persecute them after the war. And their goal then was to destroy America. Their goal today is to destroy America, and everything they have pushed for, every piece of legislation they have sponsored and pushed through for the last 120 years has had the ultimate goal of destroying America. And anybody that would be a member of the Democrat Party is simply trying to destroy this country. And I don't see any other way to look at it when you sit back and look at their actions and the legislation that they have gotten passed.
You know, you bring up a good point. I mean, there are some that just have good intentions, but they do it the wrong way, and I think some are misguided and misinformed, and I feel for them. And those are the ones, like I've said before, that we can try and win over. We can try and explain the cause, we can explain our ideas, and we can actually move forward in a positive direction. But you're right, there are the ones that sat there last night when we said the economy's doing well, disabled individuals are at a record number of working and off social programs. We have the least amount of people on food stamps than ever before. We have the people in the workforce more than ever before. And the Democrats literally sat there, did not smile, did not stand up, did not applaud that fact. Whether they agree with Donald Trump or not, the fact that it's happening, they should be excited about and saying, you know what, the country's doing well. They sat there with their grumpy woman, grumpy face, and they didn't say a word at all. And that shows that they're not happy about that fact. So you're right. They do not want us to succeed because they want Donald Trump to fail, and they want people on social programs to have the complete control over them. They do, in essence, ideologically, they want America and the vision of America to fail.
Well, that's correct. And ultimately what that means is the common working man of America must fail and succumb and become their economic slave.
Sure. You're absolutely right, Bruce. I appreciate that. You're spot on. I mean, that's exactly what they're trying to do. They want the people on the social programs. They want us to not have to work. They want to tax the rich at a ridiculously high rate. They want to punish success because how dare you make money? How dare you become a successful business individual? How dare you actually run a company? How dare you grow the economy? You create a product that people actually enjoy. You create a product that's affordable for the consumer, for the luxury of them, or for the need for them, or whatever it is. They don't like it. They don't like it because they think it should come from the government and not from the people. Again, there's a big difference between being a nationalist and supporting the country and the vision of the country, which is what Donald Trump has done, and being a well, not even a statesman, because a statesman in a sense is really good, but actually being an elitist, an establishment mindset. I'm thinking the government's going to solve all the problems, which it never does. Got to take a break. Wrap up hour number 1. Lots more to get to. Your phone calls as well when we come back. Stay here.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. It was a mixed day on Tuesday as far as our futures markets are concerned. We saw some negative movement through most of the day for corn, wheat, and soybeans. Did not entirely finish that way, though. March corn up 1.5 at 3.80 3/4. May was unchanged at 3.89, but the later months were all in the green. March Kansas City wheat was up 3/4 at 5.11 1/4. May was down 1 3/4 though at 5.16 1/2. Really not the best day for the wheat markets. A lot of activity once again, much like Monday. Not a lot of movement, though, so wheat finished mixed. Soybeans stayed low much of the day, kind of a little bit of a boost before we got to the close and finished in positive territory. March beans up 1 3/4 at 9.20 1/4. May beans up 1 3/4 at 9.34 1/4. The products remained mixed. March soybean meal down $1.10 at 309.50, while March bean oil up 25 points at 30.38. So all in all, a mixed day in the soy complex. Livestock had some struggles over the course of the day as well. Fat cattle did well at the end. February live cattle up 97 at 126.70. April up 62 at 127.62. The early months had been up early, but the later months came along later on in the day. Feeder cattle couldn't get on track. March feeders down 40 at 143.82. April feeders down 37 at 145.45. Same story for hogs, basically. February hogs down 95 at 56.42, while April hogs down 145 at 61.60. So it was a mixed day, but mostly lower in the livestock complex. And gold was off through the day. February gold late in the afternoon down a dime at 13.14.20. April down 60 cents at 13.18.70. So mixed numbers all through the futures markets as we wrapped up on Tuesday. Market information from Mid-America Ag Network.
Hi, this is Phil Martinez at Phil's Coins. At the shop, we talk all the time about honesty and integrity. And in our shop, we've decided that honesty means nothing without integrity. So what I would tell you is that if you didn't bring your coins to Phil's Coins, honestly, you didn't get enough money for what you have. Come see us at Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central, or online at philscoins.com.
Guys, shopping for that perfect Valentine's gift for your special lady? Come to Jewelry Savers, where they've been making Wichita's Valentine wishes come true for more than 40 years. Jewelry Savers has lots of exciting new designs in stock right now, and select merchandise is on sale at up to 50% off. Plus, buy a diamond or make a purchase of $300 or more, and you'll get a stuffed puppy of your choice while supplies last. For the best Valentine's Day ever, hurry into Jewelry Savers today. K96 in Greenwich by Cabela's.
Wichita's home for talk radio. This is the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM, KQAM.
All right, top of the hour news coming up. We got lots more to get to. We have Jim Howell coming up at the bottom of next hour as well. We got lots more clips to play from the State of the Union last night. We'll get your thoughts on them as well, between the socialist jabs that he took at AOC and Bernie Sanders, and one of the most patriotic things I think I have ever heard in my entire life. We're going to play it. It's about 5 minutes long, the end of his speech last night. But you know what? It gave me shivers. You talk about Keith Olbermann seeing that shiver go up his leg for Barack Obama. Let me tell you what. This guy, voice of reason, shed a tear a little bit last night for the patriotism that was bleeding through my television, and it was a beautiful sight. All that and more coming up. Hour number 2, right around the corner on a Wednesday. This is the Voice of Reason. Stay here.
And now this message about fully customized vehicle wraps and graphics from Shire Graphics of Park City.
Park City's Shire Graphics has the highest quality of big truck and fleet graphics, from passenger vehicles to the big rigs and everything in between. No matter the size of your fleet, Shire Graphics of Park City is the area's leader in digitally printed vehicle wraps. Superior quality digital vehicle graphics from Shire Graphics, where their niche is your need in vehicle graphics, from single vehicle to fleet. Shire Graphics at shiregraphics.com.
Coming spring 2019.
Hail.
Ouch. Oh.
Wind. Freezing temperatures. Tornadoes. That's mayhem.
Hi, I'm Mark Collier, your local Allstate agent. We're your insurance agency interested in doing what's best for you. Before mayhem strikes, call us at our Goddard office, 316-413-4014, and find us on Facebook at Collier Allstate. Are you in good hands?
This is a Steckline Communications station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Phil's Coins, Kansas's largest coin dealer at 9344 West Central. Phil's Coins, buying, selling, and trading with honesty and integrity.
Good Wednesday morning. Suffice it to say the vast majority of schools within the sound of my voice are closed today due to icy conditions in south central Kansas, 2 exceptions being Wichita proper schools and Derby schools. A winter weather advisory is in effect until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning for freezing drizzle and freezing rain. Icy conditions impacting this morning's commute across southern Kansas. Freezing rain later today and tonight across portions of the area won't help improve things any. In Wichita, the emergency accident reporting plan is in effect. If you're involved in a non-injury accident and no drugs or alcohol were involved, you can exchange information with the other driver involved and fill out an accident report form, which are available at Quick Trip, Quick Shop, or online at wichitapolice.com. A Kansas wildlife official is investigating after a pile of dead ducks and geese were left in a rural area near Goddard. The State Department of Wildlife Parks and Tourism said yesterday on Facebook that the waterfowl were left around 199th and 4th Streets north of Goddard. Some of the birds were breasted out, some were not. Cake TV reports the Sedgwick County Game Warden is asking anyone with information to contact authorities. A vigilant WPD officer monitoring businesses in the area of 21st and Mays Road around 10 o'clock Monday night due to recent armed robberies when the officer observed a suspect enter a Jimmy John's restaurant, point a handgun at employees, and demand money. Wichita police say the officer approached the business and took 36-year-old Christopher Irwin into custody as he exited through the back of the restaurant. Irwin was also booked on alleged charges stemming from an armed robbery at the New Way on West Central and a Pizza Hut on West 21st Street North. I'm Rick Everett from the KQAM KGSO newsroom. We now turn it over to the sports desk and Doug Downs.
The Kansas Jayhawks continued to struggle on the road. Last night, Kansas State beat the Jayhawks 74-67 inside Bramlage Coliseum for the first time since 2015. According to Bill Self, several things have the Jayhawks perplexed on the road.
It's leadership, it's toughness, it's inexperience. There's a lot of things that go into it.
The Wichita State Shockers will also need to try to figure out how to win on the road in conference play. They'll get that opportunity tonight as they travel to Eastern Carolina. Join us for Shocker Sound-Off starting at 4 o'clock from Twin Peaks East. From the Sports Desk, I'm Doug Downs.
When it comes to the trailer you're hauling behind your vehicle, whether it's a big rig or a pickup truck, MJ's Truck Repair at exit 46 off I-135 in Mound Ridge, Kansas has your back. Doonan and Chaparral drop decks, flatbeds, and heavy hauling trailers for the big rigs, along with gooseneck livestock trailers by Barrett. And for your pickup truck, the utility line of trailers from Rice with 5x10 to 8x20 boxes. MJ's Truck Repair, Mound Ridge.
Right now, you've got plenty to do without worrying about putting additives in your diesel fuel. That's why you'll be happy to hear Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster Premium Diesel Fuel is seasonally enhanced for optimal cold weather performance. So order Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster for the performance and extra protection your farm equipment needs. Because after fueling farms for 80 years, no brand respects Mother Nature more than Cenex.
In Arkansas City, Kansas, see Two Rivers Co-op.
Hey, Mark Walters with Armed American Radio, and I want to tell you about Rob's Gun Tech and Firearms. They're the dealer to buy, sell, trade, and even consign. Budget to high-end custom firearms, ammo, accessories. They've got it all and feature Wilson Combat, Gun Crafters Industries, and Nighthawk Custom. Have a request? Work with their in-house gunsmith, find the right solution for you. Rob's Gun Tech offers pricing programs and discounts and proudly gives back to the Veteran Suicide Network. Learn more today at robsguntechandfirearms.com or visit them just east of 159th North on East Kellogg, where they know more than just the price.
Now back to the KQAM News Desk.
President Trump spent much of his State of the Union address last night talking about immigration and border security, and he seems to be relaxing his stance on a huge wall from sea to shining sea.
This is a smart, strategic, see-through steel barrier, not just a simple concrete wall. It will be deployed in the areas identified by the border agents as having the greatest need.
The president did not announce a national emergency to go around Congress for money to build a border barrier. Capitol Hill negotiators have until a week from Friday to come up with a budget deal or run the risk of another government shutdown. They are meeting this morning. Mississippi lawmakers are considering what could become one of the strictest abortion laws in the country. Bills that passed legislative committees yesterday would ban abortion once a fetal heartbeat is detected as early as 6 weeks into a pregnancy. Supporters and opponents alike are anticipating a court fight. Stock futures are mostly flat in pre-market trading. I'm Michael Toscano.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Maximum Outdoor Equipment. All equipment outdoors, from lawnmowers to snowblowers. Just south of Kellogg on West Street and online at MaximumOutdoor.com.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, some patchy fog, otherwise partly sunny and 48. Patchy fog tonight after 7 p.m., increasing clouds and 40. Tomorrow, patchy drizzle between 7 and 1, otherwise mostly cloudy and 58 with winds gusting over 25 miles an hour. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 7:06, it's currently 24 degrees.
News, weather, and information on local shows. Visit us online at kqamradio.com. It's time for Reason.
We were starting to see an uptick even before he got into office. The first 2 months of Governor Laura Kelly, we've gone down. Shockingly, talking about spending more money, shortening the 2-year budget outlook to a 1-year budget outlook to balance the budget, quote unquote, by expanding Medicaid, which we know is going to be a hell of a lot more expensive than $14 million. The outlook of Kansas has already dropped.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Don't get fooled again.
Members of Congress, the state of our union is strong.
See, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, hour number 2, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas on the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. We are rocking it on TV. We're rocking it on YouTube Live as well. A lot of people jumping on YouTube, which we appreciate very much. Go to youtube.com, find KQAM Radio. Subscribe to the page, which we're getting closer and closer to 100 on there. We love it, and we appreciate that very, very much. Thank you for that. Go on there and subscribe. Watch us live each and every day in all of the podcasts. 316-721-8255. Give us a call on the ABC Recycling Hotlines. This half hour of the broadcast is brought to you by Countryside Motors. Just a short drive down the turnpike for big savings. Make sure to check out the Buick and Chevy cars, trucks, along with the Polaris and Hustler ATV and turf equipment. Countryside Motors, Wellington, Kansas. They have the complete service and parts department for your Polaris or Hustler equipment as well. You don't just need to buy it, but you can also service it there. Just south of Wichita here, down in Wellington, Kansas, online at countrysidemotors.net. Again, countrysidemotors.net. You know what? I want to get your thoughts on the State of the Union. We got Jim Howell, Sedgwick County Commissioner, coming at the bottom of the hour. And at 8 o'clock, by the way, we have Tim Dennis. He is one of the hosts of Beer Guys Radio that we now air on Saturday evenings at 9 p.m. right before Cigar Dave. I love it. It's kind of our manly 3 hours of the station where we have the beer radio. We have 2 hours of cigar and whiskey reviews, and it's kind of a great time. It's the American way. So we'll talk with him coming up at 8 o'clock today. I want to get your thoughts on the State of the Union, but let me tell you something. That was probably the best speech that President Donald Trump has given since he's been president of the United States. I'm just saying. I think it was kind of fantastic. And between him saying the State of the Union was strong, he gave the whole laundry list of what was going on well economically. He laid out his plan for immigration. He talked about the abortion issue, which I thought was kind of interesting as well, and the Democrats not liking it.
There could be no greater contrast to the beautiful image of a mother holding her infant child than the chilling displays our nation saw in recent days. Lawmakers in New York cheered with delight upon the passage of legislation that would allow a baby to be ripped from the mother's womb moments from birth. These are living, feeling, beautiful babies who will never get the chance to share their love and their dreams with the world. And then we had the case of the governor of Virginia, where he stated he would execute a baby after birth. To defend the dignity of every person, I am asking Congress to pass legislation to prohibit the late-term abortion of children.
And the Republicans went absolutely nuts for that, and the Democrats, angry woman, grumpy face. Angry woman, grumpy face. That's what they received. Not a single clap, not a single standing applause for that from the Democrats and from the women in there, which is really funny because just minutes before that, if you saw it and if you were watching, of course, all the women on the Democrat side wearing white in solidarity to protest Trump for whatever reason. And when he started talking about women, he was talking about the economy and the number of people off food stamps, the number of disabled individuals off social programs and working, and the economy doing well. Then he started talking about women and women working more than ever before and women succeeding more than ever before. And the narcissism from the progressive end, where the women on the Democrat side standing all in white, and they all stood up and started cheering and patting themselves on the back and looking at each other and applauding themselves because they saw that as their success. Yeah, look at us. Yeah, hey, we stole it from men. We got elected. It was because about our gender that we should be proud, not because of our ideas, but our gender of reason we're here, and we should be proud of that. And they started applauding themselves. So they're narcissistic to the nth degree by showing, oh, yeah, look at us. He's talking about us. We're going to applaud ourselves on the back because we're women and hear us roar. And then we start talking about the abortion issue and coming from a woman's womb, and then they sit there in silence. You can tell just by watching them the absolute narcissism that comes from the progressive end of the aisle and that movement that's created a lot of devastation in society. So I'm glad that he touched on it. It was really interesting. But what really got me last night, honestly, was the history lesson we got with the survivors of the Holocaust that were there, with the World War II veterans that were there, and the reason he went into the history of. First, he took the shots at socialism, which was absolutely beautiful.
Here in the United States, we are alarmed by the new calls to adopt socialism in our country. America was founded on liberty and independence, and not government coercion, domination, and control. We are born free, and we will stay free.
Doesn't that just sound good? Doesn't that sound good? And when they did that, they panned to Bernie Sanders, and he's sitting there slouched in his chair, and he's got almost his jacket over him pretty much, and he didn't even look fazed. He's just whatever. He's too old to even remember what's probably going on right there. But they panned over to him. The fact that we have socialists advocating, and while he talks about World War II veterans, and he talks about the Holocaust, and the dictator in Venezuela, and weeding out the socialists in Venezuela, and the dictators in the Middle East, and the socialists and the fascists that were in World War II, and what we fought, and what we stand for as a nation, and what we fought against as a nation, that apparently we've forgotten in our history books. We've forgotten all about it, because we have now new ones that are actually advocating for the same garbage in our society today, and he reassured us last night.
Tonight, we renew our resolve that America will never be a socialist country.
Pretty powerful, isn't it? Congress, your elected officials, the history in our legislative chambers, the history that's gone in there from the time of our revolution, where we said, you know what, we're a free nation, now we need to figure out our own stuff, to the wars that we've been in, to World War II, where it was an ideological war. I saw an interview with NBC last night with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and she really put on the stupid last night.
Now time for the Crazy Cortez Corner.
And she was interviewed after the State of the Union last night. Chuck Todd asked her, or the gal that was on there, whoever was with them, asked her about, well, President Trump mentioned socialism last night. Was that directed towards you, and what's your thoughts? And does socialism actually work? And what did she say? Well, I think that he's trying to attack isms, and we're not about isms. We're just about, like, equality and, like, you know, the living wages for people and, like, taxing the rich and stuff. It is an ism. It is an ideology. It is a philosophy. You can say whatever you want to, but that's the dangerous stupidity that comes out of this. When you say, we're not for an ism like socialism, but we do like socialist ideas with, like, you know, taxing the wealth and redistributing, with universal health care that controls your livelihoods with death panels. And we love the fact that we can put an increase in the wages there so we can run out anybody with entry-level positions, and we can really destroy the economy and raise inflation to the point everybody's going to be poor. We really love those sorts of things. It's pretty fantastic. But I'm not about an ism. That's kind of a thing that he created. It's not an ism thing. That was her response. And I laughed. I laughed because I didn't know whether to be angry and throw something at my TV, or I laughed because that's how stupid that people have actually become that actually believe in that mindset. I cannot understand it. I will never understand it because it doesn't make any sense. But thank God we have a president right now that is one of the biggest leaders that we've ever had, and he said something last night that was the most beautiful thing I think I've ever heard as he wrapped up his speech last night.
When American soldiers set out beneath the dark skies over the English Channel in the early hours of D-Day 1944, they were just young men of 18 and 19 hurtling on fragile landing craft toward the most momentous battle in the history of war. They did not know if they would survive the hour. They did not know if they would grow old. But they knew that America had to prevail. Their cause was this nation and generations yet unborn. Why did they do it? They did it for America. They did it for us. Everything that has come since our triumph over communism, our giant leaps of science and discovery, our unrivaled progress towards equality and justice, all of it is possible thanks to the blood and tears and courage and vision of the Americans who came before. Think of this Capitol. Think of this very chamber where lawmakers before you voted to end slavery, to build the railroads and the highways, and defeat fascism, to secure civil rights, and to face down evil empires. Here tonight, we have legislators from across this magnificent republic. You have come from the rocky shores of Maine and the volcanic peaks of Hawaii, from the snowy woods of Wisconsin and the red deserts of Arizona, from the green farms of Kentucky and the golden beaches of California. Together, we represent the most extraordinary nation in all of history. What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? I ask the men and women of this Congress, look at the opportunities before us. Our most thrilling achievements are still ahead. Our most exciting journeys still await. Our biggest victories are still to come. We have not yet begun to dream. We must choose whether we are defined by our differences or whether we dare to transcend them. We must choose whether we squander our great inheritance or whether we proudly declare that we are Americans. We do the incredible. We defy the impossible. We conquer the unknown. This is the time to reignite the American imagination. This is the time to search for the tallest summit and set our sights on the brightest star. This is the time to rekindle the bonds of love and loyalty and memory that link us together as citizens, as neighbors, as patriots. This is our future, our fate, and our choice to make. I am asking you to choose greatness. No matter the trials we face, no matter the challenges to come, we must go forward together. We must keep America first in our hearts. We must keep freedom alive in our souls. And we must always keep faith in America's destiny. That one nation, under God, must be the hope and the promise and the light and the glory among all the nations of the world. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
Let me just tell you something. If that doesn't give you that tingle up your leg, you're a communist, my friend. This is the voice of reason.
This is the voice of reason with Andy Hoosier.
Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Craig Meade. Good morning. President Trump plans to press key issues of importance to agriculture during tonight's State of the Union address. Trump, in his third primetime address to the nation from the United States House chamber, will call on Congress to work with him on several fronts: infrastructure, lowering health care costs, immigration reform, ratifying the U.S. Mexico-Canada trade agreement, and confronting China on unfair trade practices. However, Trump will continue to face a hostile reception from Democrats amid a fierce standoff over his efforts to build a border wall and the longest ever government shutdown, with another shutdown deadline on the 15th of this month. American Farm Bureau Federation trade advisor Dave Salmonson says politics is key for doing things like trade deals, including ratifying the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement.
That got bipartisan support. It was certainly a long-term talking point for a lot of people on the Democrat side. I think they're willing to engage on the agreement, but you have to have the right political environment.
American Farm Bureau Federation's Director of Advocacy and Political Affairs, Cody Lyon, says much will depend on how aggressively majority House Democrats investigate the president and his administration.
The incoming chairs are just chomping at the bit to start their investigations of the president on a variety of different areas. I think that's going to determine what's going to be the tone for the 116th Congress.
And whether the House and Senate, where Republicans expanded their majority, can work together on farm trade and infrastructure. American Farm Bureau Federation Executive Director Dale Moore.
The repair, the maintenance, and more to the point, in some cases, replacement of our locks and dams infrastructure is so critical to agriculture in so many different parts of the country.
But ahead of any new possible deals on infrastructure, Washington faces more fighting on homeland security and a border wall that Trump threatens to fund by declaring a national emergency. Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network.
Teammates in his rearview mirror.
NASCAR racing returns.
Nothing but Daytona high banks out the windshield.
Revved up with the annual preseason appetizer.
Logano goes to the top side. Ryan Blaney down low.
Live from Daytona Beach.
Jimmy Johnson is rallying into the outside wall.
The Advance Auto Parts Clash.
Elliott, Kyle Larson, Martin Truex all crash.
Sunday afternoon at 2 on the Motor Racing Network.
Your home for NASCAR is the Big Talker, KQAM.
Riverside Cafe, whether it's the two Wichita locations or in Derby, is proud of their all-day breakfast. It's what's helped make Riverside Cafe famous. And now for you early birds, from 6 to 9, you can pick any four for just $4. Sausage link, hash browns, slice of bacon, 3 silver dollar pancakes, quarter biscuit with gravy, a sausage patty, slice of buttered toast, any four, only $4. From 6 to 9 every morning. Pick 4 for $4 at Riverside Cafe, 9125 West Central and 13th and Benning in Wichita, and 824 North Baltimore in Derby.
When you look around, you might feel pride is in short supply these days. Everything's being disrupted. The rules are changing. Everyone's scrambling to be the next flavor of the month. But at Ford, we don't measure in months. We've been around for 115 years, and we know the only constant is change. So, disruption? Yeah, it's what we do every day. It's also what's led us to build the world's first affordable car, the most beloved pickup truck on the road, the iconic American sports car, and the SUV most people think of when they think of an SUV. We know America was built on the backs of families like ours, so we still take pride in what we build and how we build. We even take pride in taking pride. And the world could use a little more of that right now. Because if you don't believe in what you're doing, why do it at all? Build Ford proud.
Joe and the guys at Carl's Goodyear, well, they are nice guys. That's the only way to describe them. Need new tires? Got you covered. Flat tire fixed? Done. Tune-up? Oil change? Brakes? Exhaust? Radiator? You get the idea. They do almost everything for your vehicle. They will also give you a ride when your car is in the shop. Nice guys who know auto repair, but above that, they know people and treat them like they would want to be treated. Carl's Goodyear, right on the corner of Market and Waterman, 264-5385.
Call the Voice of Reason now on the ABC Recycling phone lines at 721-8255. This is The Big Talker, KQAM.
Tonight, we renew our resolve that America will never be a socialist country.
Well, it just sounds good, doesn't it? Welcome back into The Voice of Reason. Your thoughts, 316-721-8255 on the ABC Recycling Hotlines. That was, what did I say? Oh, yeah. You step up to the plate, baby. They three, the fastest heat they can. You connect. It goes, and gone, baby. Home run for President Donald Trump last night, and we appreciate his remarks. Probably the best speech that he's given so far, at least in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you'd like to say something different. 316-721-8255. But I loved how he tied in not only the attacks on socialism and then went off on the history of World War II and bringing in the veterans from World War II and bringing in the survivors of the Holocaust and learning that, not sure if you remember socialists or not, Hitler was a National Socialist. He ran under the National Socialist Party of Germany to get elected and became the Nazi fascist that he was because of socialist mindsets. You cannot have conservatives, as you try and say, be fascist when we believe in limited government and less regulation and lower, smaller-sized government with more private sector rights. You cannot have fascism with the government being bigger, taking control. It doesn't work that way. And one of these days, the light bulb will click on and common sense will prevail, and we can actually understand that. But until then, you cannot accuse us of being Nazis and being fascists and yada, 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 while you're advocating for socialism with Medicare for all and with government health care and government education and government this and government that. You cannot have it both ways. As we said in the last hour, you cannot have an illegal immigration argument where you can say we want open borders and we want illegal immigrants here, but we want $15 an hour minimum wage because wages are too low when they caused the reason why wages are so low. You cannot say that there's no opportunity for inner city communities to get jobs, to get entry-level positions and work their way up when illegal aliens are taking those jobs, and then you say, well, look, there's no opportunities for inner city communities. Guess we better put them on social programs. You cannot say that children and kids working in high school or working in college and trying to save up money or pay their way through college sort of thing and them trying to get jobs that they don't have those opportunities when you're advocating for an illegal alien to take those jobs away from American citizens. It doesn't work that way. You cannot have it both ways. The hypocrisy is starting to bleed through, and the fact that many of the Democrats did not stand and applaud even when the basic issues of, hey, this is what's doing well in our nation right now are happening, they didn't like it. It really shows the priority of. There were some issues, of course, that we don't always agree with. I don't really like the idea of the infrastructure investment from the federal government. Didn't care for that much. But you know what? We'll take those few bad things and comparatively to the larger message from last night, home run, baby. Home run. Take a bottom of the hour break. When we come back, Jim Howell, Sedgwick County Commissioner. He'll be joining us. Also in the 8 o'clock hour, Tim Dennis, Beer Guys Radio. 8 o'clock. You can hear them Saturday nights at 9 p.m. Big show. We just started here on KQAM. We'll talk with him when we come back as well in hour number 3. This is The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
President Trump last night in his State of the Union address took a jab at lawmakers, part of several House committees planning probes into the Trump administration.
If there is going to be peace and legislation, there cannot be war and investigation.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says the president's remarks shows he has something to hide.
The president says, if you investigate me, I'm not going to make progress. That's doing what he did with the shutdown, holding the American people hostage. You know what I think it shows? He's scared. He's got something to hide. Because if he had nothing to hide, he'd just shrug his shoulders and let these investigations go forward. He's afraid of them.
Seems there's disagreement over whether the racist photo in Virginia Governor Ralph Northam's medical school yearbook could have been placed on the wrong page. One Connecticut doctor says a page he laid out for the 1984 Eastern Virginia Medical School yearbook was changed without his knowledge. I'm John Trout.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, please call this toll-free number right now, 800-390-9528. That's 800-390-9528. By calling your addiction team, you're taking the first steps to recovery. The help you need could be one call away. 800-390-9528. Make the free call now. 800-390-9528. Your addiction team is a third-party advertiser for various treatment centers and placement networks. Individual results will vary. Visit youraddictionteam.com/terms for more information.
I used to have a sweet tooth, had it removed when I was a kid. So what do I crave instead of chocolate? A big red box from Grainger. Grainger satisfies my craving for great customer service with 24/7 support, effortless ordering, and same-day pickup or next-day delivery options. No busy signals, no cavities. I love Grainger. You know why? Because when it comes to reliable product and technical support, Grainger's got your back. Call or click Grainger.com to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. Good Wednesday. The Kansas Corporation Commission approved a rate and others. The new rates take effect today. Kansas Gas Service had sought an increase that would have increased average customer bills by $5.67 per month as opposed to the $2.40 per month, which was approved. Authorities say a carjacking suspect has been shot and wounded in an exchange of gunfire with law enforcement in central Kansas. KBI said in a news release that 24-year-old Colt Wright of Derby underwent surgery at a Salina hospital yesterday. The release says Salina police began chasing him around 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon after he stole a Jeep Wrangler at gunpoint. Kansas News on the Mid-America Network. I'm Rick Everett.
For decades, white planters have earned a reputation for boosting yields and profits. Now they've taken a quantum leap forward with the addition of precision planting, world-renowned technology. This is Leroy, the tractor man from Schmidt & Sons. Did you know that precision planting technology is fully integrated into your equipment straight from the factory? Right now, you can demo the 9800 VE Series planter, which takes the trusted systems white planters have used for years and combines them with precision planting's innovations for an even higher level of performance. It's all designed to give you more speed so you can plant faster while still getting the seed exactly where it needs to be. More accuracy, one seed per space, and seed spacing consistent across the entire width of the planter, and higher yields with real-time data to help you make better decisions. White planters and precision planting. We've combined two proven brands into one fantastic value. Find out more at Schmidt & Sons, your white planter dealer, located in Mount Hope and Winfield, or check us out on the web at schmidtinc.com.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, a chance of drizzle or freezing drizzle, mostly cloudy and 45. Tonight, wintry mix, chance of drizzle, freezing drizzle, sleet, and snow, mostly cloudy and 17, winds up to 30 miles an hour, mostly sunny and 24 tomorrow. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM, KQAM.
At 7:34, it's currently 24 degrees.
This segment of The Voice of Reason on KQAM brought to you by Riverside Cafe, home of the 3-pound burger and hand-cut fries, plus breakfast all day long. 2 Wichita locations and 824 North Baltimore in Derby. Riverside Cafe. When a headline just isn't enough.
Is that
all you got?
It's time to wake up the right way.
All right.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM. KQAM.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. It is a Wednesday, halfway through the week, waking you up the way we do every single morning, which we appreciate you hanging out with us each and every day. Better than a cup of coffee, a shot of espresso, even an energy drink. Making it happen, doing the thing. Right here on the show. Welcome in 316-721-8255. But it's time for our county update. We do it every single week. As we have our Sedgwick County Commissioner, Mr. Jim Howell, back on the line with us. Jim, happy Wednesday, my friend. How we doing?
Well, I'm doing really well, Andy. I'm kind of excited about the speech last night. I'm feeling hopeful for our country. Finally, this has been a tremendous speech. I think this is a turning point in terms of he states things that are making. To him, it may be obvious. When he puts that all together, it's extremely impressive. The things that have happened in the last couple of years. And his vision for our country going forward has just been really exciting for me. So I'm pretty happy this morning.
It feels really good, doesn't it? I mean, we need kind of our batteries recharged once in a while. And when we hear that patriotic message that we heard last night, that we're going to put America first, we're going to fight for this. Look how well things are doing. The State of the Union's strong when we're not, when we try and reassure. I mean, I love that comment yesterday.
Tonight, we renew our resolve that America will never be a socialist country.
I mean, that right there just makes you feel good, doesn't it?
It was really awesome. In fact, that's one of the things I've been concerned about this recent election. That was kind of the topic. Socialism, at least in this area, is starting to take hold. We've got a number of candidates who ran under that platform, and to me, it's just really surprising that here in the Midwest, we'd have people who would be embracing that type of ideology. But that's where we're at. So I love the fact that he said it that way, and I love the reaction of the Republicans. At least they cheered, and I think they said USA, USA. It was really a great moment.
It really was. It really was. And just, I loved it. And I know we'll get to the county stuff here as well, but the tie-in between the knock on the socialism and then going into the World War II and the veterans from World War II and the survivors of the Holocaust and reminding everybody that tyrants and big government, that's what that leads to, the devastation. Venezuela being a very strong country to a very collapsed and struggling country because of socialist policies, and how there's yahoos trying to advocate for that here in the country, and we're never going to be that. And look how strong we are because of who we are and what we've done in the nation. I mean, I don't know about you, but to me, that's what sends the shiver up my leg and makes me feel good, because that patriotic talk is exactly what I need to keep going once in a while.
I completely agree. It was a great moment last night. I think this is by far his best speech. It checked all the boxes. It did exactly what it needed to do. If anybody would listen to that speech and would start with basically no bias and just listen to that, I think it would be a compelling speech that says we're doing some great things. We're going in a great direction. We have great history, and there's hope for our nation. So, to me, that is accomplished that mission. And to me, it was interesting to watch the Democrats cross their arms and scowl. At some of the times, I thought to myself, "Are you not listening? He's saying things that you guys even agree with,
right? But
they just don't like the fact that it's coming out of Donald Trump."
Sure.
So
Angry woman grump face.
The bias is crazy. Absolutely.
Angry woman grump face. That's what we got to call it on here. I love it. Well, anyways, it was a great speech last night. It keeps us going. On the local front, we need some kind of message from that, like that as well. And here's your chance, Jim. I mean, let's talk about the patriotism of Sedgwick County and how well things are going. Are we rocking and rolling just as well?
Well,
well, at least we're trying,
right? I don't know what to say now. You just got me all flustered. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I would say this. We actually are on a good trajectory. I think that our budgets have grown rapidly, which is a bit of a concern. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with Sedgwick County overall. When I ran for this office, I have never said that there's enormous problems to be fixed, that we need to turn the corner and go a different direction. The county was doing well before I got here. I said what we ought to do is keep the inertia and the momentum going, and make it better. Look for places to make it more efficient, improve our services, get a handle on our debt, and things like that. And I think we've done those things. And so I'm very proud of Sedgwick County. There really is good news. I heard it yesterday from someone that they're saying that, people just don't care about county issues. They just are tuned out. And maybe that's true, but if people would actually hear the message and know what's going on here, it actually is kind of exciting. And I'll continue to say this. I don't know if you agree with me or not, Andy, but local government spends the most money and has the biggest impact on people's lives. And so this is where things that really impact people daily. These are where the decisions are made. And so it's interesting to see, the politicking going on, and in some offices, a lack of interest. Nobody wants to run for, specifically some city council seats and some school board positions.
Sure.
But, it's interesting to me. Local government has a huge impact on people's lives. And so I think that people should be more tuned into these things. And this is a good news story. There's plenty of good things going on in Sedgwick County, and I would love to talk about that anytime I get the chance.
No, absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned. I mean, you're right. We are on a good trajectory. We are doing well in the county. We have some issues we need to work through, but, I mean, that's the way things are. But I got to give you guys credit, and I gave you guys credit last year as well, is that you're one of the only governmental bodies, governmental entities that I know of that's actually downsized with deregulation, with actually capping your debts, with actually trying to spend things when you do grow and actually invest in things. You do it out of pocket with cash as opposed to getting in debt for a 30-year bond, and by the time it's done, you've already had to replace it or fix it or do something different 2 other times, and we're not in crazy amounts of debt. We have our issues, but we have to stay on that path and that direction, and I hope we do for the next coming year.
Well, you just kind of recapped exactly what the debate will be going forward, whether we should spend more money, whether to take on more debt, because we are in a good position. It's like the state of Kansas has nearly $1 billion in the bank, and the debate there is, how are we going to spend this money? Maybe what they should do is show some responsibility and do some good things, pay off debt, reduce taxes, things like that. But rather than that, they're just going to spend the money. And so we have an opportunity here in Sedgwick County, in my opinion, to continue to make great decisions and to continue to make this a great place to live with low taxes and efficient and effective and responsible, transparent, accountable, available government, or we're going to do the wrong thing. We're going to go the other direction. So,
sure.
This is the debate, obviously.
Right, exactly. And some of that stuff coming up, I know you guys are going to start looking at your budgetary debates right now. Last week we talked briefly a little bit about the zoo, asking for about $6 million more for some stuff they're working on. But some of the budgetary debates that you've heard so far, is there anything really popping up that you guys are taking a serious look at in the next week or two, or in the meeting today and saying, hey, maybe we need to expand our investments over here a little bit?
Well, today really we have a couple of interesting topics I'll talk about, but in terms of to answer your question, the real issues of spending and what's about to happen for this next year's budget, I don't really know what the other commissioners are thinking at this point, because we haven't really come together in an open meeting to have that discussion. But that will happen. It's scheduled to happen in February. We're going to have about 2 days, half a day meetings for 2 days in a row, and I believe there's an hour carved out of each one of those days for commissioners to share their vision and their goals and their priorities for spending and moving forward in this next year's budget. So that'll be a topic we can talk about in depth probably here in just a couple of weeks. But back to today's agenda, we actually have probably just 2 things I think are noteworthy. One of them is there are leases in Sedgwick County on the northwest corner of our county where it is intended by I don't know what the name of the company would be in this case, but they are expanding wind energy in Reno County, and they've got leases in Reno, and they have leases in Sedgwick County. And so what we don't have is we don't have zoning regulations or any type of regulations that deals with the type of infrastructure and capital investment these folks are putting in. And so we've got to get a handle on that. So we're going to pass. I assume it'll pass. We're going to have a discussion, and I think this will pass, but it's going to be a 6-month moratorium on any act that would initiate wind or solar energy in Sedgwick County. That'll give us a chance to have discussions like, for example, are these utilities taxed or not? That's a pretty big discussion. What are the setbacks? There's environmental hazards. There's popular sizes. You may not really drive past them, but there's popular sizes of these wind turbines. Some of them are taller than other ones. Are we going to allow any of the sizes in Sedgwick County? They do create noise. They do have impact on birds, especially. And there are some issues to think about. And
Sure.
so we're going to have discussions about that over the next 6 months. And so today is a more basically starting what's called a 6-month moratorium if that passes. And the other thing we're going to talk about today is we're going to have a discussion relating to the county manager hiring process. And what that means is, are we going to use a headhunter? Are we going to open it up to HRE partners, which is our normal HR process of soliciting people to apply for positions in the county? And by the way, if any of your listeners needs a job, I encourage them strongly to go to hrepartners.com, and that's where you're going to find all of the county jobs as well as city jobs, places like Wichita and Derby and even Butler County and other places across the state are advertised together on hrepartners.com. And it's a great place to look for jobs. And so, should we just post this position on there and do this as a normal process? Or do we go and just pick someone, that we know of right now and just basically skirt the whole process? And so that's kind of a question we're going to, a debate we'll have today on the board. I have a feeling I know which way this is headed.
Sure.
But I do look forward to a debate today on that, and I expect that might make the news. So we'll see. In fact, those two topics might make the news. We'll see if that's something you'll be reading about tomorrow in the paper.
Sure.
Other than that, everything else in today's meeting is just not
the
worthy
normal
of
thing.
discussion.
Sure. I'm glad you mentioned it, though. And the alternative energy with the solar panels and wind and all that, are you seeing an increase in people using those around here? Because I know, as you mentioned, we've talked about before the idea of the taxing, and actually the story came a while ago. What was it, a few months ago, 6-8 months ago, about the redistribution of taxing more individuals and even businesses that have solar panels because they're not using the electric grid nearly as much, so they need to pay higher taxes and higher rates in order to offset their lack of using the public utilities, which drives me nuts because it's a public utility you have the choice to use or not use as you wish, instead of being forced to do so, and if you don't, then you get taxed at a higher rate in order to offset your lack of using it, kind of thing, which, I don't know, that drives me nuts. So are we seeing more people actually using alternative energy in the area?
Well, when you say it that way, I think on a personal level, yeah, it is increasing slowly, especially the solar on a personal level. But the wind energy generation, we have not seen very much of that in Sedgwick County on a personal level. And by the way, this moratorium has nothing to do with individual property owners doing this for their own property. This will not slow that down in any way. But we're talking about a large utility, a large commercial utility of maybe, let's imagine, if you will, 150 turbines, wind turbines, or imagine, 10 acres of property, or, or I shouldn't say not 10 acres, maybe it's 50 acres of property that's covered with solar panels. And so that's the type of thing we're talking about. And so I'll just say this, in Kansas, it is popular, especially the wind energy generation. There is between here and Abilene, I happen to notice, and by the way, Andy, I hope you get on the KSRA board sometime soon. And I go to those meetings once every 3 months. But when I travel to Abilene to go to those Kansas State Rifle Association Board of Directors meetings, I pass a wind farm. And I notice it seems like about 100 of those turbines went up in 3 months. It's amazing how fast they go up. But when one of these wind farms goes up, and there's numerous wind farms across Kansas now. I've lost track. I don't have any idea if it was, if it's 15 different wind farms or if it's 25, but it's a fair number.
Sure.
And but these wind farms go up really rapidly. And when you see one pop up, it's not just 1 or 2 windmills. It's usually 100 or 150 windmills, and they can be as high as over 400 feet tall at the tips of these wind turbine blades.
Right.
And so it changes the landscape, and they do make noise. And anyways, a lot of things to discuss. And so in terms of seeing this in our area, is not a single one of these in Sedgwick County yet. But I think you'll see some of these will be in Sedgwick County soon. One of my first questions was, is my energy bill going to go down? And the answer, of course, is no. These do cost a lot of money to put up, and this energy goes onto the grid. The utility itself, may have some financial benefit, but in terms of lowering our local energy costs, it's just not going to have that impact. And so the only real benefit to Sedgwick County really would be if there's tax revenue potentially to offset other tax collection from other people in other ways. And so that might be a benefit. But, these are something once you erect these things, it's something you have to look at, you have to listen to, it changes the landscape. And so there's a payoff. The question is, should we go down that path? What are the setbacks? How far from homes? How far from highways? Those are great discussions. And so anyway, that's kind of where this is headed. And in terms of answer your question, Not yet, but hang on to your hat.
Right. Well, and I know you're right. It's going to be an ongoing discussion for a while, and it's probably going to get more progressive as we go along. Again, and I've said this before, I'm not a big fan of the government entities in the public sector going into the alternative side. If people want to use the alternative for their private energy, then they have the right to do that, and we shouldn't punish them for doing that. But right now, as you mentioned, it's not going to lower costs. It's not going to make it more efficient, essentially. It's just finding other ways, which I think is just a little silly at this time. So, but we'll see where the conversation goes, and it should be kind of an interesting one as well. We got about just a minute left. Sedgwick County Commissioner Jim Howell, and you did tease it, and we're going to get you on probably soon because we're getting closer and closer to this. Right. For the meeting in April. But as you are not just Sedgwick County Commissioner, but as you mentioned, also on the board for the Kansas State Rifle Association, the annual meeting coming up in Wichita here in April, we're going to be heavily involved in this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, we need to schedule a time to sit down and specifically talk about that because this is a really important event for our community and for the state. And the people are asleep at the wheel. We need to wake people up and let them know why this is important to engage this opportunity. And legislatively, we've got to continue to push and fight for our gun rights in our state. And we need people to understand what's going on and hopefully engage and be a partner with us to keep our rights the way they are. A lot of people are members of the NRA, and I appreciate that. We are the Kansas affiliate of the NRA. It is a separate organization, and this is the boots on the ground that makes our legislation move in the direction that people like.
Right.
So we've got to get people to support that. It's actually only $25 a year. We'll talk about that later, but it's certainly a worthy cause, and I would encourage people to check that out, the KSRAweb.org, if they want to know more information. Today's meeting, is, of course, is at 9 o'clock, and it is at the county courthouse, which is the northwest corner of Central and Main here in Wichita, third floor, and we will be televising and also posting the meeting on YouTube after the event. So please come on up. We would love to have people come and attend and even speak at our meetings if they want to.
Hey, it's going to be a good meeting. I hope everybody does show up and listen to the conversation. It's going to be one that's going to be ongoing, I think, for a long time. 8 minutes at the top of the hour. Sedgwick County Commissioner Jim Howell. Jim, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Stay warm and stay safe out there. The weather is a little crazy. Last question, real quickly. The county all up, ready to go for this crazy ice that apparently came out of nowhere this morning?
You know, the county does a great job. They've been out and they're treating the roads, and I noticed the county roads are in very good shape this morning.
I love it. Very good, Jim. We'll talk to you again next week, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, always a good time. Let's take a break, wrapping up hour number 2. Lots more to get to today on a Wednesday episode of The Voice of Reason. Stay right here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network in for Craig Mead. I'm Andy Hoosier, starting off a Wednesday morning today, and it looks a little rocky when it comes to your grains. First thing on a Wednesday here, but March corn down 1 point to 379 3/4. May corn right now down 1 1/4 to 387 3/4. In July sitting at -1, down 1 1/4 to 395 1/4. Over on the wheat side, we are seeing March wheat down 3/4 right now to 526 1/2. May wheat down 1 1/2 to 527 3/4. July sitting 3/4 down to 530 even. Over in the KC wheat for March down 1 3/4 to 509 1/2. KC wheat for May right now down 2 points to 514 1/2. In July sitting 1 1/2 down to 520. Over in the soybeans, same story here, mostly lower across this whole board. Soybeans March down 1 point to 919 1/4. May soybeans down 1 1/4 to 933 even. In July 1 1/4 down to 946 1/4. Soybean meal March down 30 cents right now, 309.20. Currently, May soybean meal is down 10 cents to 313 40 cents, and July sitting at 317 40 cents, which is down 10 cents. Soybean oil, same story here, 4 cents down to 30.34. May soybean oil down 2 cents to 30.66, and soybean oil for July down 5 pennies to 30.93 cents. In the livestock, they're not quite on the board as of yet this morning. But yesterday, sitting at 126.70 for live cattle February. April live cattle ended at 127.62. And feeder cattle March ending yesterday at 143.82. April feeder cattle at 145.45 cents. Real quickly, over in the energies, we see crude oil for March right now down 15 cents to 53.51. April sitting 14 cents lower to 53.86. Unleaded gas sitting 8 cents lower to 141. And heating oil for March down just a hair to 189. Market information, Mid-America Ag Network.
Get a sweetheart deal till the 14th. Up to $14,000 off MSRP on a 2018 F-150 truck. Come to Rusty Eck Ford or go to rustyeckford.com. We're Rusty Eck Ford proud.
Still on the fence about what seed varieties to plant this year? Starseed has many varieties of forage and spring cover mixes that will produce the best results in your fields. Need alfalfa and oats? We have that too. Give us a call today to pre-book your spring seed products. No bag fees, no delivery fees, no kidding. We are Starseed, and we deliver premium quality seed to our dealers whenever and wherever you need. Call us today at 800-782-7311 or visit our website at gostarseed.com.
Guys, shopping for that perfect Valentine's gift for your special lady? Come to Jewelry Savers, where they've been making Wichita's Valentine wishes come true for more than 40 years. Jewelry Savers has lots of exciting new designs in stock right now, and select merchandise is on sale at up to 50% off. Plus, buy a diamond or make a purchase of $300 or more, and you'll get a stuffed puppy of your choice while supplies last. For the best Valentine's Day ever, hurry into Jewelry Savers today. K96 in Greenwich by Cabela's.
If you're a contractor
or a do-it-yourselfer,
you owe it to yourself to shop Croft Lumber of Heston.
Of course there's lumber.
And there's roofing and siding.
And the renowned custom cupboard cabinets.
Drywall and insulation. Just price Croft Lumber of Heston.
Chances are, if you price Croft Lumber, you'll be done shopping.
And free delivery within 50 miles. Croft Lumber of Heston. 800-736-4951. 800-736-4951. Online at kropflumber.com. Jesse Soria of Cholitas Mexican Restaurant at Central and Tyler talks a little bit about success.
Each and every one of our customers that come in, we want them to come back. We want them to enjoy their meal. We want them to be happy. If for some reason we send you some food and let's say it doesn't taste right, let us know. I'm going to bend over backwards to take care of you. Our goal 30 years ago was to please every customer, and that is still our goal today.
Cholitas Mexican Restaurant, Central and Tyler.
There's sweetheart deals on 2018 Ford Focus till the 14th, as low as $14,000 after rebate. Come to Rusty Eck Ford or go online to rustyeckford.com. We're Rusty Eck Ford proud.
Hey, it's Joe Pags. Join me live afternoons at 5 right here on the Big Talker, AM 1480, 102.5 FM, KQAM.
But we must reject the politics of revenge, resistance, and retribution, and embrace the boundless potential of cooperation, compromise, and the common good.
Yeah, there it is. President Donald Trump speaking last night at the State of the Union speech. We'll get your thoughts on that coming up in hour number 3 as well. Thanks again to Jim Howell, Sedgwick County Commissioner, coming on the program. We always love chatting with him on a Wednesday. Coming up, hour number 3, we have Tim Dennis with Beer Guys Radio. You can hear them on KQAM here on Saturday evenings, 9 p.m., doing the microbrew reviews. And looking forward to chatting with him in just a few minutes. We'll do that. Plus, we'll get some more of your thoughts on the State of the Union. We got some more clips to play between the immigration, between the economy, between North Korea. I love it. I love it.
If I had not been elected President of the United States, we would right now, in my opinion, be in a major war with North Korea.
Yeah.
Winning.
How many presidents you hear say something like that? Boom, baby. Got to take a break. Hour number 3 coming up. Stay here.
Hi ladies, it's Tiffany talking about my all-time favorite home decorating source, Jabara's Flooring Outlet. You've heard of Jabara's Flooring for years. They have the largest selection of carpet, wood, and all your favorite floor coverings in the state. And right now, they are offering a free Sonic Clean Soft Carpet Vacuum with every qualifying carpet purchase. Who doesn't need a new vacuum? Am I right, ladies? So take it from a real shopper, someone who loves a great deal. See Jabara's for your new floors. Like they say, the smartest shoppers shop Jabara's. 17th and North Broadway, Wichita.
When it comes to cleaning homes, dust, grime, and soap scum don't stand a chance when a team of highly trained dirt assassins from the Maids hit the scene. Ruthlessly efficient, trained in a 22-step process perfected through years of practice by the Maids. These masters of messes have only one motto: we fight dirty. Call now for a free estimate and schedule every other week service. Call The Maids, 316-832-9058 or visit maids.com.
This is a Steckline communication station, K273CX, FM 102.5 and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita Proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Heartland Avionics and JD Aviation, your aircraft maintenance partners at Augusta Municipal Airport. Learn more at iflyaugusta.com.
Good Wednesday morning. A winter weather advisory is in effect until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning for freezing drizzle and freezing rain. Icy conditions impacting this morning's commute across southern Kansas. Freezing rain later today and tonight across portions of the area won't help improve things any. In Wichita, the emergency accident reporting plan is in effect. If you're involved in a non-injury accident and no drugs or alcohol were involved, you can exchange information with the other driver involved and fill out an accident report form, which are available at Quick Trip, Quick Shop, or online at wichitapolice.com. A vigilant WPD officer monitoring businesses in the area of 21st and Mays Road around 10 o'clock Monday night due to recent armed robberies when the officer observed a suspect enter a Jimmy John's restaurant, point a handgun at employees, and demand money. Wichita police say the officer approached the business and took 36-year-old Christopher Irwin into custody as he exited through the back of the restaurant. Irwin was also booked on alleged charges stemming from an armed robbery at the New Way on West Central and a Pizza Hut on West 21st Street North. A Kansas wildlife official is investigating after a pile of dead ducks and geese were left in a rural area near Goddard. The State Department of Wildlife Parks and Tourism said yesterday on Facebook that the waterfowl were left around 199th and 4th Streets north of Goddard. Some of the birds were breasted out, some were not. Cake TV reports the Sedgwick County Game Warden is asking anyone with information to contact authorities. Cake TV meteorologist Frank Waugh breaks down the next 24 hours for us.
Freezing drizzle through the day today and then also into tomorrow morning. Rain to maybe a little bit of light snow. It's going to be blustery, a messy start to your day on Thursday.
I'm Rick Everett from the news desk. Now to the sports desk and Doug Downs.
Not since February of 2015 has it happened, but last night the Kansas State Wildcats finally were able to topple the Kansas Jayhawks 74-67. The seniors for Kansas State had never beaten Kansas until last night, and Dean Wade loves how his team had to fight.
Battled, grinded, fought, whatever you want to say. Luckily, we came out on top, and we fought every possession we came down. We were battling on defensive end, offensive end. We were really, it was a dogfight tonight.
The win keeps the Wildcats atop the Big 12 race. Meanwhile, Kansas is tied for 4th with Texas. From the Sports Desk, I'm Doug Downs.
Riverside Cafe is more than just great comfort foods. Riverside Cafe has amazing fresh salads, daily hand-breaded fresh catfish, and chicken strips. Burgers. Burger. The best in the business, and even veggie burgers for the healthy eaters. Riverside Cafe, breakfast all day, every day, daily specials, homemade hand-cut fries, fried chicken Fridays, and kids eat free Monday through Friday when each child accompanies a paying adult. Riverside Cafe, open till 8 Monday through Saturday, open till 2 Sunday afternoons, 2 Wichita locations, and 824 North Baltimore in Derby. Now check this out from Davis Liquor Outlet.
Hi, this is Brian Davis from Davis Liquor Outlet.
And this is Blake Davis.
Did you know that you can sign up online at davisliquoroutlet.com to receive coupons?
We provide monthly coupons with discounts, in-store specials, and we produce a newsletter every month.
It is real simple. Just go to davisliquoroutlet.com.
Then head to the Get Monthly Coupons tab.
And don't forget, every month, people over 60 save 10%.
And active duty and veterans also save 10%.
Davis Liquor Outlet.
Each location independently owned and operated.
Soon we will be hearing the chirping of birds and feeling the warm sunshine. Wouldn't it be nice if you were ready with a brand new deck from Burwell Construction? Now's the time to plan for spending time in your backyard, and Burwell Construction has done it all. From mini decks and small patios to outdoor eating areas with gazebos. To enjoy your backyard this spring and summer, the logical choice is Burwell Construction. Online at burwellconstruction.com.
If it's built well, it's Burwell. Burwell Construction.
Now back to the KQAM News Desk.
President Trump last night in his State of the Union address took a jab at lawmakers, part of several House committees planning probes into the Trump administration.
If there is going to be peace and legislation, there cannot be war and investigation.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says the president's remarks shows he has something to hide.
The president says, if you investigate me, I'm not going to make progress. That's doing what he did with the shutdown, holding the American people hostage. You know what I think it shows? He's scared. He's got something to hide. Because if he had nothing to hide, he'd just shrug his shoulders and let these investigations go forward. He's afraid of them.
Seems there's disagreement over whether the racist photo in Virginia Governor Ralph Northam's medical school yearbook could have been placed on the wrong page. One Connecticut doctor says a page he laid out for the 1984 Eastern Virginia Medical School yearbook was changed without his knowledge. I'm John Trout.
Your local weather on KQAM, brought to you by Jewelry Savers. Conveniently located off K96 on Greenwich Road. The Kansas trusted jewelry source since 1971. Jewelry Savers.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, a chance of drizzle or freezing drizzle, mostly cloudy and 45. Tonight, wintry mix. Chance of drizzle, freezing drizzle, sleet, and snow, mostly cloudy and 17, winds up to 30 miles an hour, mostly sunny and 24 tomorrow. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM, KQAM.
At 8:06, it's currently 24 degrees.
We make talk radio big. This is the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM, KQAM. It's time for Reason.
We were starting to see an uptick even before he got into office. The first 2 months of Governor Laura Kelly, we've gone down. Shockingly, talking about spending more money, shortening the 2-year budget outlook to a 1-year budget outlook to balance the budget, quote unquote, by expanding Medicaid, which we know is going to be a hell of a lot more expensive than $14 million. The outlook of Kansas has already dropped.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, hour number 3 of the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas. On the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. We're simulcasting on TV as well, also on YouTube Live, youtube.com. Go to KQAM Radio, subscribe to the page, watch us live each and every day. You can comment on there, watch all the podcasts. It doesn't matter. We're growing each and every day. We appreciate that very much right here on the show. As you heard last night,
Members of Congress, the state of our union is strong.
Boom, baby. There it is. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. A lot to cover with the State of the Union from last night and how it ties into even here in Kansas. But I want to shift gears just for a little bit, and because we've worked up a bit of a sweat this morning, I mean, talking about immigration and talking about the border security and about the taxes and the economy improving and all the great things. I did see a post on social media with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Now time for the Crazy Cortez Corner.
Yeah, well, you know, she sat there and, of course, didn't do a whole lot last night and tried to not applaud and not stand up and not give, you know, actually admit that things are actually doing relatively well, and she tried to protest some of it. So what did she do? She sat there, and I saw a post on social media today that said, and well, in her defense, the reason she didn't respond a lot was because there were a lot of really big words. Which, you know, makes sense with her being the socialist she is. Nonetheless, let's shift gears just for a little bit here. I'm really excited here on KQAM, as you can hear on Saturday evenings at 9 p.m. right before Cigar Dave. We have a brand new show, Beer Guys Radio, doing some beer reviews, talking about microbrews around the country, talking about what's good and happening in the world of beer. And as you know, we enjoy our adult beverages on many occasions here on the show. And I'm really excited to have them on the program here from Beer Guys Radio, beerguysradio.com. One of the great hosts of the show, Tim Dennis, is on the line with us right now. Tim, how are you, my friend?
Very good, Andy. How are you this morning?
Hey, I'm doing great. I appreciate you coming on here. We're excited to have your guys' show on Beer Guys Radio. I can't think of anything better than to sit and sip on some beer and chat about what great beers are going on in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. A good beer is great to enjoy. You know, with all the news that's out there, I think we could all use use a cold beer and some relaxation every now and then. So, we really enjoy getting together, sharing a beer, and talking with friends.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Now, the show, you guys, what kind of beers do you guys cover on the show? Is it a lot of the micro brews? Is it just new stuff coming out? Is it just kind of a flavor of all? Talk about the show a little bit.
Sure. We talk mostly about micro brews, or a lot of people call them craft beers these days. And we'll discuss pretty much any style or any type of beer. Depends on who our guest is. We've talked a lot about the IPAs that are so popular these days, the different styles there. Sour beers are another one that are gaining popularity. They've been popular for a little while, but they're becoming even more popular. And what we call drinking beers, Andy, we just a good old classic, Pilsner beer that you can sit back and enjoy. So any kind of beer, any kind of craft beer, we're going to talk about.
I love it. And I told you once before, I admit I've not really gotten into many of the microbrews yet. So when you mention like the IPAs, you're going to have to explain to me what even that is. I don't even know what that is, because I am one of those, my case of beer that I have in the fridge right now, I just bought a 30-pack of Natty Light because that's awesome. And that's kind of what I like. I like the Natty, and I like the Coors, and I like the just kind of the mainstream traditional beers. I've never really branched out, but it's something I've always wanted to. I originally came from Colorado, and they had tons of microbrews in Colorado. Now I'm here in Wichita, and microbrews are popping up all over the place here. This is starting to become a really big thing all around the country.
Yeah, absolutely. It continues to gain in popularity pretty much nationwide. Continuing to see growth, more market share for craft beers compared to those macro breweries, your Natty Lights and that. And if you enjoy those, that's what we call the drinking beer. But if you enjoy that type of beer, there are a lot of craft offerings now for beers like light lagers and pilsners that appeal to the people that enjoy those kind of beers, but maybe give you just a little more complexity and flavor there. So there's that type of drinker is coming over to craft beer, checking those out. But IPA, the most popular craft beer microbrew style, and it's really defined by the character of the hops that are used in it. And hops are used both to preserve the beer and keep it fresh, as well as flavor. And the flavor really runs the spectrum. You can have very piney, very resinous hop flavors. You can have very tropical, fruity hop flavors, even grassy hop flavors. So there's different sub-styles within IPA. There's so much to this, Andy. We could talk for weeks, just like we do, about craft beer.
Absolutely.
But that's the essence of an IPA, is going to be the hops. And you may get some bitterness in certain styles out of that as well.
Boy, that's good stuff. There is one microbrew that I've gotten into big time, and I don't know if it's nationally or if it's here locally, but the Shock Top, and we have the Wichita State Shockers here, the basketball team that's really big in the Wichita area. And the Shock Top, it's an orange-flavored one, and it is probably one of the best beers that I've had, and I love that anytime I go to an event or I go do something, or it's, even just to take home every once in a while, I do enjoy that one. But they're really starting to go out and branch out and see some really unique flavors. I mean, you even mentioned sour ones. I have a little bit of a hesitation to try like a sour beer or like a jalapeno beer or something like that. But is it worth trying?
Absolutely. And, there's different levels to the sourness. There's a beer style called Berliner Weiss that is typically lighter, more tart than sour on most of those. And a lot of times they will take that Berliner Weiss and add fruits to it. So you get kind of a sweet tart fruit flavor that really appeals to a lot of people. Those are very popular when we get into the summer, the warm months. They're extremely refreshing. But, something good to do is to find a local brewery or beer bar that does like beer flights, taster flights, and just go through it and see what fits for you.
I love it. We're talking with Tim Dennis, Beer Guys Radio, beerguysradio.com. You can hear them Saturday evenings right here on KQAM at 9 p.m. You see a lot of, too, the home brew kits where you can get at the store and kind of brew your own little thing. Are those worth investing in if people want to try this out, if they want to try and craft their own types of beer, or if they would just want to have fun with it? Is it worth it, or are those just kind of cheap and you don't really come out with the best kind of product?
Well, it depends on the kit that you get. There's a lot of different ones. There's one that's popular with people to start out called a Mr. Beer kit, and it's super easy to use, but the quality of beer that it produces is not the best.
Okay.
But you can go to a local homebrew store and get a very basic kit for, I'd say, less than $100, Andy. You can start homebrewing your beer, and you can really scale up from there with the different styles. There's a brewing style called extract, where the liquid that you ferment is already made and there's fewer steps. And then there's all grain brewing, where you actually take the grains and you soak those to get what they call the wort to ferment your beer. So there's a huge range in there, and absolutely, home brewing is fantastic. It allows you to brew a beer that fits your palate perfectly. And, you know, it gives you something to do with friends on the weekend. And the bottom line is you get beer out of the deal.
Yeah,
so,
hey, well,
not a bad way to go.
You can't beat that. No, you're right. And I would like to try something like that. I'm always wondering if I want to do something, I want to start it from the beginning process and go through it all myself. So, you know, doing the whole, getting the seeds and fermenting it all and trying to do the whole process. If you do all of that, how long does that usually take from beginning to end?
There's different beers take different lengths, but if you do a basic beer from the day you brew to the day you drink it, you could have it in about a month.
Okay.
So, and that'll the first batch of beer you make, that's going to be a really long month waiting on that to be ready for.
Sure, I love it. Talk about your types that you prefer: the lighter beers, the darker beers, the lagers, the really hoppy. I know some of them are really kind of hoppy. You can taste it, or sometimes you don't taste it at all. But and I know it's kind of different for everybody. But you personally, what do you kind of enjoyed as you've tasted all these numerous types of beers?
You know, I really enjoy a lot of different styles. One of my go-tos is the popular, it's called a Northeast style IPA right now. And that is characterized by very tropical fruit flavors in the hop profile. They typically are a little hazy rather than crystal clear. They will not have as much bitterness as what is called a West Coast IPA, where the West Coast style is very bitter, resinous, piney, those types of flavors. I do enjoy those sour beers from the very tart, the light tart, to the more puckering sour. And, you know, with cooler temperatures, we're having a little warm spring here in Atlanta right now, but normally in winter, the cold, a good big barrel-aged stout is fantastic. So it's easier for me, Andy, to say which one I don't care for. I don't like the big bitter IPAs, the West Coast style IPA that was popular for many years. But outside of that, I'm pretty equal opportunity. I'll try any and just kind of judge it on its own merits there.
Give it a try. I like it. Have you ever tried, and I've never tried this, I've always wanted to, but a mead beer with the honey?
We have, actually. Yes, I have. We've actually homebrewed mead, made our own mead before. There are, brewers here that do make meads, and they make, I'm trying to remember the term for it. I believe it's called a graft. Is a combination of beer and mead. I may be mistaken there, but I think that's what it's called. And there are brewers that have done those. There's brewers that have done hopped meads that'll just make a basic mead and add some hop character to it. So it's very interesting. I just a little quick search. I got my terms mixed up. A graft is a combination of a cider and a beer, sort of. So,
okay. All right.
But there's a lot of options out there to try. You know, the mead, ciders, craft beer.
I love it. Well, I'm a big fan of mead wine, obviously, with the mead. I love the honey in there. I love the sweetness of that. And I've never tried the mead beers with the honey in there. So that's one thing that's on my bucket list to try. But it's very interesting how we can craft it in so many different ways and so many different flavors. Tim Dennis, Beer Guys Radio, beerguysradio.com. You can hear him on KQAM here 9 p.m. on Saturday evenings. The next couple of shows you guys working on and talking to different microbreweries around the country and different guests. Who have you had on lately, and what can we expect over the next couple of weeks with you guys?
Sure. So we've got coming up this week is actually a very popular brewery out of Wisconsin called New Glarus Brewing. They make a beer called Spotted Cow that's kind of the state beer of Wisconsin. They make a lot of various sour and wild beers as well. We've had on a popular brewery out of Colorado called Weldworks that they are very well known for their Northeast style IPAs, all of their IPAs there. We've got a show coming up where we're going to tell people how to pair beer with cheese, do beer and cheese pairing. And we'll be talking to Casey Brewing and Blending, and a really interesting show, something that we're seeing more of non-alcoholic craft beers. Now, I'm not sure what I think about those yet, Andy, but we're going to be talking to Athletic Brewing Company that specializes in non-alcoholic craft beer.
That's really interesting. That kind of reminds me of like doing an energy drink without the sugar. To me, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But, you know, if that's what the market is, then I guess we can give it a try,
sure,
so to speak, on that one. So very interesting. Now, last question before we let you go. I know we're running short on time here, but just like with wines where you have to drink a certain type of wine, red wine, white wine, chilled, non-chilled, with certain types of food, with red meat or white meat or something like that, is there that type of atmosphere or rules per se when it comes to drinking beer with certain meals as well?
There are, yes. There's definitely rules out there, or guidelines, I should say. Enjoy your beer whatever way you want to enjoy it. If you enjoy it, that's the right way to do it. But there are recommendations on glass shapes and sizes, serving temperatures for different beer styles, and, of course, certain beers that pair better with different foods. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of guidelines out there to enjoy your beer.
I had no idea. We're going to have to get you back on the show, and we're going to have to go through all those fun rules and guidelines because that would be fascinating to listen to.
Sounds good. Absolutely.
I love it. Tim Dennis, Beer Guys Radio, beerguysradio.com. I'm here on KQAM Saturday evenings at 9 p.m. Tim, I appreciate the time, my friend. You guys have fun. We enjoy the program here on the station. We'll get you back on real soon.
Thanks, Andy. Have a good one.
Hey, appreciate it very much. Got to take a break here. 21 minutes past the hour. Your thoughts and calls, open line. See you when we come back. Wrapping up the program today on a Wednesday, halfway through the week, baby. This is the Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Answer this question. If you were to lose your phone right now, what's the most important thing on it that you'd miss? Kim Commando with your Wednesday Consumer Tech Update. For extended interviews and daily tech news, get my free Commando podcasts, available on Apple, Google, or wherever you do get your podcasts. Odds are your photos are the most important things to you on your phone, so that's why it's really important to back them up. If you use an iPhone, it's a no-brainer to use iCloud. You get 5 gigs for free, but unless you have a really small photo collection, you're going to need to pay a few dollars a month for extra storage. That's why I need to tell you about free options, starting with your Amazon Prime membership. Many people don't know that along with movies, music, and free 2-day shipping, your Prime membership includes unlimited free photo storage. Finally, Google Photos offers free photo storage too. You may hear complaints that Google compresses photos. This only matters if your camera is 20 megapixels or more, and yours probably isn't. I'm Kim Commando. I may be America's digital pro, but even I enjoy forgetting the tech when it comes to the new Epson Fast Photo Scanner. Scan stacks of photos from wallet size to 8x10s, even Polaroids. Fast Photo offers automatic 2-sided scanning, so you can capture any handwritten notes on the back. Damaged or faded photos? Fast Photo has the software to automatically restore your memories. And best of all, it's so easy. Order yours today when you visit epson.com/fastphoto.
I don't know. Let's see. Pasta? No, we just had pasta. Meatloaf? I don't have time to cook that.
Okay, so that's how choosing tonight's dinner used to sound. But HelloFresh is taking the guesswork out of dinner time. They deliver fresh ingredients straight to your doorstep with America's #1 meal kit. Get $60 off. That's $20 off your first 3 boxes when you visit HelloFresh.com/Kim. That's HelloFresh.com/Kim. Get cooking.
Hi, I'm Blake Davis.
And I'm Brian Davis.
Check out our everyday low pricing on Bud and Bud Light 20-pack aluminum bottles, just $17.99.
Special pricing excludes 31st and Meridian.
More coupons online at davisliquoroutlet.com.
Each Davis Liquor Outlet is independently owned and operated.
Coming spring 2019.
Hail.
Ouch. Oh.
Wind. Freezing temperatures. Tornadoes. That's mayhem.
Hi, I'm Mark Collier, your local Allstate agent. We're your insurance agency interested in doing what's best for you. Before mayhem strikes, call us at our Goddard office, 316-413-4014, and find us on Facebook at Collier Allstate. Are you in good hands?
Hi, I'm Brian Davis.
And I'm Blake Davis.
Inviting you to check out our pricing of 3-liter box wine.
Boda box and new Barefoot boxes, just $18.99.
And don't forget, Thursday is wine day. Save 20% off most wines. We are Davis Liquor Outlet.
Each store independently owned and operated.
With Dennis Miller.
I want to talk about the Super Bowl 53, and thus I want to talk about Tom Brady, the greatest of all time. I think I'm going to start saying that out loud, elaborating on each word, because I've been calling him the GOAT lately, and I'm not sure that does him justice. It just goes by too quickly. It would seem that Tom Brady turns the players that he plays against into GOATs, and he does it with a high degree of panache. Let's face it, in a world where you sometimes shake your head and wonder what has flipped upside down, there's something Frank Merriwell about Brady. Something fictional, an essential decency mixed in with a killer instinct, great skills, and he applies himself every day to perfect his craft and seems to be a nice fellow to boot. I just think whenever you get down and you think, well, geez, the world, just think of Brady. It's inspiring. That's the Minute. I'm Dennis Miller. This year it's time to tackle Valentine's Day like a pro. Enough waffling between chocolates and candles. Nothing says love like flowers, and the best flowers come from Pro Flowers. Pro Flowers offers so many beautiful Valentine's Day bouquets for you to choose from, and they're all freshly cut, carefully packaged, and express delivered, meaning their flowers arrive in perfect condition. I order like a pro with Pro Flowers because they make it so easy. The prices are reasonable, the flowers are gorgeous, and they last a long time. They even have a 7-day freshness guarantee. I score major points with the wife when that Pro Flowers box gets delivered. My Valentine's Pro move? Keep it simple. Send Pro Flowers. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. If you hurry, you can get 1 dozen red roses with a free glass vase for $24.99 plus shipping and handling. Visit proflowers.com, click the microphone in the upper right-hand corner, and enter promo code Dennis Miller to choose the perfect roses at the perfect price. That's proflowers.com, click the microphone, and enter code Dennis Miller. Order today.
Your home for Wildcat basketball. This is the Big Talker, KQAM.
Here in the United States, we are alarmed by the new calls to adopt socialism in our country. America was founded on liberty and independence, and not government coercion, domination, and control. We are born free, and we will stay free.
That right there gives you the shivers right up the leg, my friends. Patriotism at its best last night, and that's what happened at our State of the Union. Welcome back in, 316-721-8255. Thanks again to Tim Dennis coming on the show. Beer Guys Radio. Check them out, beerguysradio.com. You can hear them on KQAM Saturday evenings, 9 p.m. Great program and kind of fun as we do our 3 hours of manliness on Saturdays between beer reviews and then Cigar Dave from 10 to midnight. Always a great time. We got to get him on the show. That'd be a blast to chat with him. I love that guy. And appreciate that program very much as well. 316-721-8255. I want to play some more clips from President Donald Trump. I want to get your thoughts, though, as well. There are many people saying this is the best speech that he's given so far, which I kind of agree with. There are many saying that this is the best State of the Union speech that's been given, which I would say it's up there for sure, I think. Calling for unity, calling for bipartisanship, working together, talking about how great the nation is, talking about commonsensical things, and the progressives not liking that very much, and at the same time taking some jabs at them. I thought it was absolutely brilliant all across the board, and it's something that we need to remember moving forward. It was also a very patriotic, nationalist-like message, and that's, I don't say nationalism in the negative sense. Nationalism, as we say many times before on this program, nationalism is a good thing. Trigger warning for all the progressives, by the way. Yeah, I know. Trigger warning. Nationalism is a good thing. Nationalism, by definition, is you having pride for your nation, being patriotic, and thinking that your nation is above every other nation and that it's the best nation. And let me tell you something. We are the greatest nation on the face of the earth, and I am not afraid to say that. This half hour of the broadcast brought to you by Wildwood Cellars. You want to talk about beer and all the good stuff to drink? Well, they got the wines, the best wines in the area. It's more than just buying a bottle, but you can learn what good ones there are, what ones you like, what ones you don't like, and what ones you're supposed to like, as opposed to the ones that you are actually liking yourself. They have the tasting before you can buy it, so you have the free tasting that you can actually see, hey, maybe I like this beer. They're going to chat with us next week as well and give us some tips on some of the wines that they have. But from nationally acclaimed vineyards right here in Kansas, Wildwood Cellars, off the Turnpike in Mulvane or at Maple and Ridge in Wichita. Wildwood Cellars, check them out. They got the meads, they got the dry wines, the sweet wines, the semi-sweet, the halfway, and the middles. WildwoodCellars.com. Again, WildwoodCellars.com. Make sure to check it out. Great stuff there with Wildwood Cellars. Get all the wines and meads that you enjoy. I sat there last night and watched the State of the Union with a glass of mead, and it was quite beautiful and delicious, and I really enjoyed that. Bottom of the hour news coming up. Your phone calls as we come back. Open lines to your thoughts. Maybe something you didn't like from President Trump's speech last night, like infrastructure spending. maybe more spending packages, maybe the plan for immigration that you didn't think was quite right. We'll get all that and more, plus the patriotism that bled out of my TV last night was kind of amazing.
Who can touch me 'cause I'm who can stop me tonight? You make me feel invincible. I feel it. Invincible. I feel it. Invincible.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
President Trump last night in his State of the Union address on the matter of Syria and ISIS said that we have liberated virtually all of that territory from the terror group. But the commander in charge of U.S. Central Command overseeing military operations in the Middle East says the fight is far from over.
General Votel told Congress yesterday that there are as many as 20 to 30,000 ISIS fighters still at large in Syria alone.
Correspondent Ben Wiedemann post State of the Union. Can lawmakers reach agreement on U.S. border security?
There is some tepid optimism this morning on Capitol Hill when it comes to those border negotiations. We do know that Republicans and Democrats are trading proposals back and forth. We know there are still key sticking points over the border wall, over how many detention beds there would be at the border. All of that getting negotiated.
Lauren Fox on Capitol Hill. I'm John Trout.
36 days. That's how long it takes the average company to find their next hire. Glassdoor can help you quickly find the right job candidate in half the resumes. From 62 million job seekers, Glassdoor only matches you with qualified candidates who have the skills and experience your small business needs to grow. And Glassdoor hires are committed. They're 30% more likely to stay with your business longer. Go to glassdoor.com/hire. Glassdoor. Find the right fit for your business.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. Good Wednesday. An icy one out there in portions of the Sunflower State. Area schools around Wichita canceled classes today, along with a couple in western Kansas. Winter weather advisories posted for much of Kansas through tomorrow morning. The main culprit today, freezing rain and drizzle. Tonight brings with it snow into tomorrow morning for portions of the state. A 30-year-old Topeka man who led police on a chase to avoid stopping at a DUI checkpoint has been sentenced on a firearm charge. U.S. Attorney Stephen McAllister said in a news release that Daryl Kevin Norwood was sentenced yesterday to 3 to 5 years in prison for possession of a firearm. Police say rather than stopping at the checkpoint back in May, Norwood fled from police. The chase exceeded 70 miles an hour before Norwood hit another car, then fled on foot, but was later arrested. I'm Rick Everett with Kansas News on the Mid-America Network.
Get a sweetheart deal till the 14th. Up to $14,000 off MSRP on a 2018 F-150 truck. Come to Rusty Eck Ford or go to rustyeckford.com. We're Rusty Eck Ford proud.
Farmers, where do you go when you need top quality seed with a large selection? Kaufman Seeds. Call us for all your wheat, corn, soybeans, grain sorghum, forage, cover crops, oats, barley, triticale, and alfalfa. If we don't have what you're looking for, let us help you find it. No order is too large or too small. Call Kaufman Seeds at 800-634-2836. 800-634-2836.
Joe and the guys at Carl's Goodyear, well, they are nice guys. That's the only way to describe them. Need new tires? Got you covered. Flat tire fixed? Done. Tune-up, oil change, brakes, exhaust, radiator? You get the idea. They do almost everything for your vehicle. They will also give you a ride when your car is in the shop. Nice guys who know auto repair, but above that, they know people and treat them like they would want to be treated. Carl's Goodyear, right on the corner of Market and Waterman, 264-5385.
There's sweetheart deals on 2018 Ford Focus till the 14th. As low as $14,000 after rebate. Come to Rusty Eck Ford or go online to rustyeckford.com. We're Rusty Eck Ford proud.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, a chance of drizzle or freezing drizzle, mostly cloudy and 45. Tonight, wintry mix, chance of drizzle, freezing drizzle, sleet, and snow, mostly cloudy and 17, winds up to 30 miles an hour, mostly sunny and 24 tomorrow. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM, KQAM.
At 8:35, it's currently 24 degrees.
Call the Voice of Reason now on the ABC Recycling phone lines at 721-8255. This is the Big Talker, KQAM. Over-the-top masculinity.
You know, that girly man with his long hair and his colorful tattoos, right?
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Boy, oh boy, the day just keeps rocking and rolling, my friends. Welcome in, wrapping up the program today, 35 minutes past the hour on a Wednesday. Getting you pumped up, feeling the exhilaration. You know, once in a while, you need your political tanks refueled a little bit by hearing a good feel story, by feeling the patriotism that re-energizes you, keeps the fight going, because after a while it does get a little draining, exhausting, tiring to continue the fight, not remembering quite sometimes what you're fighting for. And last night was exactly that.
In just over 2 years since the election, we have launched an unprecedented economic boom, a boom that has rarely been seen before. There's been nothing like it. We have created 5.3 million new jobs and importantly added 600,000 new manufacturing jobs, something which almost everyone said was impossible to do. But the fact is, we are just getting started. Wages are rising at the fastest pace in decades and growing for blue-collar workers who I promised to fight for. They're growing faster than anyone else thought possible. Nearly 5 million Americans have been lifted off food stamps. The U.S. economy is growing almost twice as fast today as when I took office. And we are considered far and away the hottest economy anywhere in the world. Not even close. Unemployment has reached the lowest rate in over half a century. African American, Hispanic American, and Asian American unemployment have all reached their lowest levels ever recorded. Unemployment for Americans with disabilities has also reached an all-time low. More people are working now than at any time in the history of our country. 157 million people at work. We passed a massive tax cut for working families and doubled the child tax credit. We virtually ended the estate tax, or death tax, as it is often called, on small businesses, for ranches, and also for family farms. We eliminated the very unpopular Obamacare individual mandate penalty, and to give critically ill patients access to life-saving cures, we passed, very importantly, right to try. My administration has cut more regulations in a short period of time than any other administration during its entire tenure. Companies are coming back to our country in large numbers, thanks to our historic reductions in taxes and regulations. And we have unleashed a revolution in American energy. The United States is now the #1 producer of oil and natural gas anywhere in the world. After 24 months of rapid progress, our economy is the envy of the world. Our military is the most powerful on earth by far. America is again winning each and every day.
That right there is why we live in the greatest nation on the face of the earth. Welcome in, 316-721-8255. Let's go to the ABC Recycling Hotlines. Line number 1, good morning, what's your name? Hey, Ray, what's going on, sir? How you doing?
Oh, just having a good old time.
There we go.
Hey, last night I couldn't help but notice all the white dog whistles setting on a Democrat side.
You're right. I mean, the last time I saw that many people dressed in white in Congress was when they were wearing hoods.
Exactly. And we all know that the KKK is a extension of the Democrat Party. It's written in history that way.
Sure.
So I didn't hear any Democrat stand up and be troubled by all those dog whistles, and they're a bunch of mind-numb robots anyway.
Right. Well, true. I mean, especially AOC, who sat there and just it was so funny if you watched her, because every time people would stand up and clap, she would look over to her peer next to her that apparently was another seasoned congresswoman who knew when to stand up or not stand up. So she didn't even know what to do. She would, every time something happened, she'd look over and wait for the response to see, okay, is it okay for us to stand up and applaud for this one, or should we stay seated and not do anything? And it was hysterical because she has no idea what's actually going on. I know there were really big words in that speech, but come on, man.
Well, they just and they were all looking up at Pelosi. If you noticed on the camera, she was always signaling to them. And
it was hysterical.
When they did. Oh yeah.
She'd nod at them. She'd hold up her hand, be like, "Oh, not yet. Don't do anything yet. All right, now we can applaud. It's okay now." She acted like the adult, or tried to be the adult in a very dysfunctional kind of family on that sense. So it was very entertaining and hilarious to watch, because the Democrats, even when there were things going on that they agreed with and that they liked, they had a hard time actually standing up and applauding for it.
Well, and the Democrats that listen to this show right now because they're trying to catch you do something wrong, I just want to point out to them that they ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Well, you know what? I'm glad they listen, and I hope that they maybe give a different approach, because I thought it was one of the best speeches that I've heard in a very long time. And if they disagree, then I want to hear the points, the factual points of why they disagree and why they didn't like the speech. I get that they don't like a wall, but he talked just a few minutes on a wall. It wasn't even that, but he proposed this plan that had other types of border security. He talked about the reason why illegal immigration is bad, and we covered many grounds where they should have been in support of as well. When he brought in the Holocaust survivors and World War II veterans and said, we fought tyrants, we fought fascists, we fought dictators, we fought people who did not value life, and oh, by the way, we need to value life here for babies, and we need to value life for American citizens. If they don't stand up and applaud for that, that shows exactly where they stand on the issue.
It does. Plus, Nancy was smirking all night. Did you notice that?
Oh, yeah. The smirks and the eye rolling I thought was hysterical.
Yeah. What a child.
What a child. No, I agree. Hey, I appreciate the phone call very much, my friend. No, you're absolutely right. Not only that, but I thought it was hilarious that Donald Trump didn't even give her the chance to actually announce him and say the President of the United States. He gave her the paper, and they smiled, and then he turned around and started talking. Like, all right. Now, I don't know if it's just because he forgot the procession, and the process is a ridiculous, stupid process anyways, but the fact that he didn't even allow, you know what, we're going to get started. Hey, we got stuff to talk about. Let's get this done. I thought it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. On the immigration issue, I mean, I mentioned this in the previous hour, but the way that the Democrats and the progressives are so hypocritical, which is why they don't actually stand up and applaud, because they're not sure how to react. No matter what you say, you're always in a catch-22 as a progressive Democrat. You really are. If you support open borders and illegal immigration, that's great because you believe in humanity, but then you cannot say that you support the working class. You don't support the inner city communities. You don't support the college kids and the young generation that are trying to work and get the entry-level positions as well. And Donald Trump really laid it out for them brilliantly last night.
Tonight I am asking you to defend our very dangerous southern border out of love and devotion to our fellow citizens and to our country. No issue better illustrates the divide between America's working class and America's political class than illegal immigration. Wealthy politicians and donors push for open borders while living their lives behind walls and gates and guards. Meanwhile, working-class Americans are left to pay the price for mass illegal immigration. Reduced jobs, lower wages, overburdened schools, hospitals that are so crowded you can't get in, increased crime, and a depleted social safety net. Tolerance for illegal immigration is not compassionate. It is actually very cruel.
You know, it brings up a really great point, is that when we do talk about the illegal immigration issue, you and I, the working class, the middle class, the blue collar, we're the ones that bear the grunt of the results. The progressives, the elites that sit up in their college dorms are the professors, and they like to drink their, $500 glass of scotch, and they talk about how we're the peons and how we need to have population control and how the working class are just a bunch of dummies. And like the story they came out with saying that Kansans were uneducated because we'd prefer to drive trucks as opposed to actually go and get educated and be a doctor, and how we're just a bunch of dumb old peons down here in the flyover states. We're the ones that bear the grunt of decisions they make, and they don't care. They don't care. They see it as, it's a philosophical, theoretical kind of situation. And yeah, on the deeper philosophical levels, that no human being is illegal, and no one should have any type of arbitrary line telling them what to do and what they can't do. And why would we actually have a law like that? That's just inhumane. And on the deep level, you can kind of sort of not really understand their point. And then you get into the real world and realize that just like everything else, with socialism, with the big government states, with the mentality that they have, that their ideas on the philosophical, theoretical level, when you're floating around in the alternate universe that you may be living in, when the real world hits, then that's not the way things actually operate. It's kind of like having an engineer not understand the construction process of actually building something. It may look beautiful on paper, doesn't always quite work out when you're actually assembling the thing in real life. Try and put together a kid's toy with directions. It doesn't work. Because you have 5 pieces left over and you're like, I don't know what to do with these. I'm just going to make it myself. Why? Because of American ingenuity, baby. We figure it out ourselves. That's the way we roll. We don't need the government. We don't need the regulation. We'll figure it out ourselves. And if we fall down and we fail, then we'll pick ourselves back up and do it all over again. That's American ingenuity. That's the American dream. And that's why we're better than anybody else. Can I get a hoorah? That's right. Let's go to the phones here, shall we? The ABC Recycling Hotlines. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Hoorah.
Hoorah. There we are. What's happening, Wallace?
Hey, not too much. You talked about AOC there at the top of the hour, and, you know that speech, I got to tell you, I was inspired.
Yeah.
The only part that I sat there and I was like, all right, who went off script was his comment about if I wasn't elected president, we'd be in a war with Korea.
Oh, that was so amazing.
If I had not been elected president of the United States, we would right now, in my opinion, be in a major war with North Korea.
Oh, and the boos and the groans and the moans from the Democrats was hysterical.
That is typical Donald Trump. That is just, he just kind of throws an elbow every now and again.
Sure.
But you know what was amazing to me? That was one of the most pro-American, we're better than anybody else, we can be better than what we are now, and you had the national, or I could call them the International Socialist Party sitting over there, and the white shirts, led by their titular head, Adolfo Ocasio-Cortez. And I say that just because, the socialist platform is exactly what the other Adolf had.
Did you see her interview with NBC after the State of the Union speech last night? And
no, I didn't want to be pulled down.
Well, yeah, and I laughed because I didn't know whether to throw something at the TV or just turn it off, and I ended up just having to turn it off. But AOC, they did interview her last night afterwards, and I should have pulled the clip from it, but I didn't. But they asked her, they're like, well, Donald Trump did mention socialism in the speech. Was it referring to you, and do you think socialism would work? And her response was, well, I just don't think that he should be using isms at all. We just want higher wages and better benefits and taxing the rich at 70%, but I don't think we should be using isms. Whatever you want to call it, I guess that's what it is, but it's just whatever's best for the country and for Americans.
Socialism is never good for anybody.
Yeah.
Ever. And one thing I just wanted to say on the wall, this was an observation I had, is, I would love to hear the president call Nancy Pelosi to task and say, look, I'll take you at face value that you want the same thing as me, and that is to secure the border.
Right.
and you say that a inanimate object like a wall is immoral. But isn't it more immoral to risk the lives of men and women of the Border Patrol to do the job that a border wall can do? Why do you want to put them in harm's way? If we're trying to accomplish the same goal, why do you want to endanger lives needlessly to do that?
Yeah, well, and it's truly just because they just don't care. And you would think that if we have to send military soldiers down to our border to scare that there is an issue and a crisis going on, because we don't send our military to places lightly just because we feel like it, but there's an actual issue for that. So that would right there just be an argument for us to say, yeah, you know what, there is a crisis. We need to deal with this. So, Wallace, I appreciate it very much, my friend. You want to talk about patriotism? I don't know if I have enough time because it's about 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes of the last little bit of his speech, one of the most patriotic things I think I've ever heard. Let's take a break. When we come back, we may try and play that to wrap up the show today to get your good feeling, emotional, patriotic sense, refueling that tank. We'll do that when we come back. Stay here.
This is the voice of reason with Andy Hoosier. Opening markets on KQAM, brought to you by Schmidt & Sons of Mount Hope and Winfield.
Lower in the livestock, lower in the grains and soybeans. We're going to start our Wednesday that way. Let's check the ag futures markets. Brady Charles at Schwieterman Incorporated is here with all the information. Good morning, Brady.
Good morning. Well, we've seen better starts to the market, lower in the grains and lower in the livestock here this morning. We've got February live cattle down 47 at 126.22, April down 25 at 127.37, June down 22 at 117.17. March feeders down a nickel at 143.77. April down a nickel at 145.40. And May just ticked up in the green, up 2 cents at 146.07. February lean hogs are down 12 at 56.30. In the grain markets, March Kansas City wheat's down 2 at 509.25. May down 1.5 at 515. July down a half at 521. March Chicago's down a half at 527. July's down a quarter at 530.5. March spring wheat's down 1 1/4 at 573 3/4. In the corn market, March is down 1 1/4 at 379.5. May down 1 1/4 at 387 3/4. July down a penny at 395 1/4. March beans down 1 1/4 at 919, May down 1 1/4 at 933, and November down a half at 960. March bean oils down 4 at 30.34, and the meals down 50 at 309 even. This has been Brady Charles from Schwieterman Incorporated. For questions on these markets, any other markets, and all your marketing needs, please give us a call at 800-272-9131. Or visit us online at upthelimit.com.
For decades, white planters have earned a reputation for boosting yields and profits. Now they've taken a quantum leap forward with the addition of precision planting, world-renowned technology. This is Leroy, the tractor man from Schmidt & Sons. Did you know that precision planting technology is fully integrated into your equipment straight from the factory? Right now, you can demo the 9800 VE Series planter, which takes the trusted systems white planters have used for years and combines them with precision planting's innovations for an even higher level of performance. It's all designed to give you more speed so you can plant faster while still getting the seed exactly where it needs to be. More accuracy, one seed per space, and seed spacing consistent across the entire width of the planter, and higher yields with real-time data to help you make better decisions. White planters and precision planting. We've combined two proven brands into one fantastic value. Find out more at Schmidt & Sons, your white planter dealer, located in Mount Hope and Winfield, or check us out on the web at schmidtinc.com.
The Laundry Station in Wichita is Kansas' premier laundry services provider. The Laundry Station has machines for all of your needs in the Wichita area. In fact, the largest machine can handle 10 loads at a time. And for those of you who are not do-it-yourselfers, the Laundry Station's premium wash-dry fold service allows you to drop off and pick up your laundry the same day in most cases. Conveniently located in the heart of Wichita, on Oliver at Kellogg. The Laundry Station, and online at thelaundrystationks.com.
When American soldiers set out beneath the dark skies over the English Channel, in the early hours of D-Day 1944. They were just young men of 18 and 19 hurtling on fragile landing craft toward the most momentous battle in the history of war. They did not know if they would survive the hour. They did not know if they would grow old. But they knew that America had to prevail. Their cause was this nation and generations yet unborn. Why did they do it? They did it for America. They did it for us. Everything that has come since our triumph over communism, our giant leaps of science and discovery, our unrivaled progress towards equality and justice, all of it is possible thanks to the blood and tears and courage and vision of the Americans who came before. Think of this Capitol. Think of this very chamber where lawmakers before you voted to end slavery, to build the railroads and the highways, and defeat fascism, to secure civil rights, and to face down evil empires. Here tonight, we have legislators from across this magnificent republic. You have come from the rocky shores of Maine and the volcanic peaks of Hawaii, from the snowy woods of Wisconsin and the red deserts of Arizona, from the green farms of Kentucky and the golden beaches of California. Together we represent the most extraordinary nation in all of history. What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? I ask the men and women of this Congress, look at the opportunities before us. Our most thrilling achievements are still ahead. Our most exciting journeys still await. Our biggest victories are still to come. We have not yet begun to dream. We must choose whether we are defined by our differences or whether we dare to transcend them. We must choose whether we squander our great inheritance or whether we proudly declare that we are Americans. We do the incredible. We defy the impossible. We conquer the unknown. This is the time to reignite the American imagination. This is the time to search for the tallest summit and set our sights on the brightest star. This is the time to rekindle the bonds of love and loyalty and memory that link us together as citizens, as neighbors, as patriots. This is our future, our fate, and our choice to make. I am asking you to choose greatness. No matter the trials we face, no matter the challenges to come, we must go forward together. We must keep America first in our hearts. We must keep freedom alive in our souls. And we must always keep faith in America's destiny. That one nation, under God, must be the hope and the promise and the light and the glory among all the nations of the world. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
There it is, my friends. That's the way we roll. Everybody have a wonderful day. It's a Wednesday, baby. We got lots more coming up Thursday, Friday, wrapping up your week with the State of the Union all set and over. Did he do it justice? That's what the big news is of the day. I hope everybody enjoyed it last night. Again, hopefully that's what we need to fuel the fire every once in a while. Because we have to. Everybody have a great day.
K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM. Wichita proud. It's time for the latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by The Laundry Station, Kansas's premier laundry services provider in the Wichita area. Centrally located on Oliver and Kellogg. The Laundry Station.
Good Wednesday morning. The National Weather Service has issued a winter weather advisory in effect through 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for south central Kansas, including the Wichita area. The main culprits, freezing drizzle and freezing rain with the potential to make travel hazardous. In Wichita, the emergency accident reporting plan is in effect. If you are in an accident and no one is injured and no alcohol and drugs were involved, you can simply exchange information and fill out an accident report form located at any Quick Trip or Quick Shop. Authorities with the Kansas Department of Wildlife Parks and Tourism continuing to investigate after a pile of dead ducks and geese were left in a rural area north of Goddard. The department said on a Facebook post yesterday that the waterfowl were left around 199th and 4th Streets, and some of the birds had been breasted out while others were not. Law enforcement asking anyone with information to contact authorities. I'm Rick Everett with news. Now with sports, Doug Downs.
Not since February of 2015 has it happened, but last night the Kansas State Wildcats finally were able to topple the Kansas Jayhawks 74-67. The seniors for Kansas State had never beaten Kansas until last night, and Dean Wade loves how his team had to fight.
Battled, grinded, fought, whatever you want to say. Luckily, we came out on top, and we fought every possession we came down. We were battling on defensive end, offensive end. We were really, it was a dogfight tonight.
The win keeps the Wildcats atop the Big 12 race. Meanwhile, Kansas is tied for 4th with Texas. From the Sports Desk, I'm Doug Downs.
What good are crop nutrients if your crops can't use them? Soil pH is the foundation of nutrient availability. 98G pelletized limestone corrects and maintains soil pH levels, maximizing your investment in crop nutrients by making them more readily available to the crop. Since 98G is pelletized for precision placement, it won't blow away in the wind like ag lime. Ask your local crop advisor about 98G pelletized limestone or learn more at calciumproducts.com.
Don't miss more ways to save on a new Bobcat compact track loader at White Star Machinery. Choose a cash rebate up to $10,000 or take advantage of 0% financing for 60 months with no payments for 90 days with approved credit. Put built tough, priced right Bobcat equipment to work and get peace of mind with our 2-year, $2,000 full warranty. Why wait? Start saving today. Check it out on our website, whitestarmachinery.com.
White Star, get the job done.
You can't handle the truth.
Hi, this is Phil Martinez at Phil's Coins. At the shop, we talk all the time about honesty and integrity. And in our shop, we've decided that honesty means nothing without integrity. So what I would tell you is that if you didn't bring your coins to Phil's Coins, honestly, you didn't get enough money for what you have. Come see us at Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central, or online at philscoins.com.
If you wear eyeglasses or just getting your first pair, did you know there's an eyewear shop that has 45 years of experience? Kent and Roxy Spectacle Shop has been framing faces for over 4 decades. The Spectacle Shop has hundreds of frames, including the exciting exclusive lines of Woo, Roger, and LA Eyeworks, and the State brand made right here in the USA. Your lenses? Kent and Roxy take seriously the quality and precision of your corrected eyesight. Be independent, take a bold step for optical freedom. Come see the difference for yourself. Visit Kent and Roxy Spectacle Shop, 306 North Rock Road, Wichita.
The latest news from the Big Talker, KQAM.
President Trump last night in his State of the Union address on the matter of Syria and ISIS said that we have liberated virtually all of that territory from the terror group. But the commander in charge of U.S. Central Command overseeing military operations in the Middle East says the fight is far from over.
General Votel told Congress yesterday that there are as many as 20 to 30,000 ISIS fighters still at large in Syria alone.
Correspondent Ben Wiedemann posts State of the Union. Can lawmakers reach agreement on U.S. border security?
There is some tepid optimism this morning on Capitol Hill when it comes to those border negotiations. We do know that Republicans and Democrats are trading proposals back and forth. We know there are still key sticking points over the border wall, over how many detention beds there would be at the border, all of that getting negotiated.
Lauren Fox on Capitol Hill. I'm John Trout.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. A mixed start to our futures markets, mostly lower, unfortunately. March corn down 1.5 at $3.79 1/4. May down 1 1/4 at $3.87 3/4. March Kansas City wheat